Browns fans, join the Dog Pound on the road this season with True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. Travel to stadiums across the country with other Browns fans and experience the games like never before. This trip includes everything: a private charter flight, hotel, an all-inclusive tailgate, game tickets, boat party, transportation, and more. Cheer on the Browns in New Orleans and party with Cleveland Browns legend Kevin Mack. Visit truefantravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
Time for the Burning River Sportscast. Hold the alarms, folks. It turns out this team that was in the playoffs a year ago, it's still good. Not everyone sucks. We don't have a million problems other than the quarterback being bad. In fact, what we learned in beating the top-ranked Ravens team on Sunday was what we all knew all along, was you had one big sexually deviant problem, and his name was Deshaun Watson. I was struck this week by Nick Wright's breakdown of the Deshaun saga and its tragic end. There's some air quotes there for you listening at home. Fitting might be the better adjective. That's right, I said fitting. I don't care. Write me your hate mail. But what Nick Wright said and had said was entirely 100% true. And as a sports fan, it struck me, and as a human, it felt worse. Nick made the valid point that the only group that Deshaun could have victimized and gotten away with the support of fans, teammates, and players who would call him things like a model citizen, were women. Let that sink in and marinate all over your feelings. Now consider if Deshaun had 24 credible assault allegations of children. Would he have got another chance? 24 credible assault allegations on male masseuses. Would his teammates been okay with that? But make it women, and we're all willing to look the other way, as long as you're still good at throwing a football, that is. What the hell is wrong with us as human beings that we were willing to let that slide? What is wrong with the people in charge that they were willing to give this guy continued attempts to the detriment of the 52 other men who bleed, sweat, and put their bodies on the line for their city every week, even when it was apparent to everyone with eyes that he could no longer play? What other motivation could there possibly be for stealing? Yes, theft is what's been committed here. Stealing another year of Miles in his prime, of Denzel in his prime, of Nick Chubb in his prime, of JOK in his prime. Theft of time and talent. Theft of the highest degree. I remember a line near the end of the Baker Wars where it was written that the Browns front office wanted an adult in the room. Well, I couldn't agree more, because there's not a single person in that front office that should feel any shred of confidence in calling themselves a man. These infantile charlatans have debased themselves, embarrassed themselves, and most of all, lied to you with malice. So I hope you think about that, about what Nick said, and about the women that we let down. And I hope you join me in pledging right now and forever, never again. Never again to support this type of behavior, to normalize it, to accept it. Our chickens came home to roost last week, and this week only validated it. Never again. We'll break it all down for you next on the Burning River Sportscast. My favorite fall pastime is thinking about Thanksgiving.
Our audience just got some real insight into like what goes on in your head on a daily basis, and it was depressing. Like, it was absolutely awful.
That's why I'm on meds.
Yeah.
What we provide is we make you feel like you are in Cleveland, except you look outside and you say, damn, the weather's nice here.
What was that?
What?
He was really staring at me, man. I looked up and he's just like dicking me down with his eyes.
What's the opposite of stinker? Winner!
I was hoping for something that rhymed. I was going to go with winker, but that didn't.
Winker! That kind of sounds like...
Yeah.
We get the other white meat. Jim to his John. That's right. Hardball number 2.
doesn't matter how clean your ass crack is, it's still your ass crack.
Right.
It'll butt crack.
We'll always love you.
I just want to say one thing before we sign off. You know, what I said before, I really mean it. I think that Cleveland's biggest strength is its people. I really believe that.
Welcome into the Burning River Sportscast, presented by the fine folks at Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder, joined by a man who eats more wood than termites, the one and only Red Hot Ronnie Jams. And on the board today, you'll never hear him play church music because he's got no organs. He's the Big Bone Man. Bone, best hymnal, Holy, 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 or How Great Thou Art.
Holy, holy, holy.
Nice. Back to Red Hot. Where can our listeners find the dopest dope they ever heard on a podcast, the number one ranked football podcast, and all of good pods, as well as the unofficial podcast of Cleveland Browns backers everywhere.
And
some backers somewhere.
in the official podcast of some Cleveland Browns backers
Somewhere.
You can find our podcast wherever you get your podcast. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, Good Pods, where we are a number one ranked football podcast, and so many more. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the only place that you can find our video podcast. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handle on all those is at Burning River Sportscast, and we are on X as well with the handle at Burning River Pod. While you're at it, check out our merch, www.thetapandmedia.com/shop. I'm backed up on merch. I got to really make some of it because we got a lot of good ideas right now.
Yeah, we got a lot of merch.
Yeah, there's gonna be new shit coming soon, so you better check it out. But right now, as always, get your River gear, get your Chubb gear, full Chubb. I'm full Chubb for Nick Chubb.
So much Chubb.
River gear. Yeah. You got anything on, Bone? You're a failure.
Yeah, no, I don't. Sorry.
There's more stuff out there. Brook
got
Park
dressed in the
Browns.
dark.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. But today on our show, this is what you can look forward to. We got our Dog of the Week division roundup around the NFL. Hot 3 interview with the Browns backers group this week, the San Diego Browns backers. King of the North cast up. The Week 9 preview. The return of our defensive correspondent, John Hughes. And oh, so much more. So grab your hoses. And no, I don't mean that sexually, because we're about to start a 5-alarm fire right here on the Burning River Sportscast. Now let's get things started with the Burning River news story of the week. All right, so the Burning River news story of the week this week. NFL officiating needs to stop.
I like that this has just become a thing now. This needs to stop. They need to stop.
Usually something like this would be in our Around the NFL segment. But this was so egregious that I felt like I had to go at the top of the show.
Fair enough.
You don't want a piece of all the action.
Yeah,
a controversial late missed penalty call overshadowed the Los Angeles Rams' victory, 30-20 victory over the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football last week. With just over 90 seconds remaining, the Rams, leading by 8, tackled Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold in his own end zone as he was attempting a comeback. Darnold was tackled by linebacker Byron Young for the sack, and it ended up being a safety because he was in the end zone.
Sure.
The problem there? He was tackled by his face mask.
Purely by his face mask.
Literally nothing else. Didn't have a hold of anything else besides his face mask.
One hand
Easy
on the
to
head.
grab. It makes it easier to bring the guy down.
Yeah, true. You're not wrong.
That's right. There's rules against it.
Good point. I guess this story's over. No, this was bad. This was like really bad.
It's especially bad.
And it was on Thursday Night Football, so it's like on Amazon
Yes,
Prime,
it's
like all the
in prime time.
Yeah.
You've got a huge audience, and the line judge was right behind the play as it happened.
Have you seen all the still shots of him literally just like looking right at it?
Just watching it.
Yeah.
And especially in today's day and age where we are hyper focused and hyper obsessed with player safety.
Especially quarterback safety.
Face mask is probably the most dangerous play in football.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made all these, hip drop tackle and all these things.
Broke his fucking neck.
And horse collars. Like, face mask has been around for a long time because we know you could really hurt. So it's one of the first things they teach you in youth football. Hey, don't grab a guy by his helmet and his face mask because you can really hurt him.
Yeah, it's a bad job out of them. Obviously, the Vikings team was absolutely beside themselves. Literally, everybody saw this. Everybody in the stadium, like even the Rams fans were like, "It wasn't good."
I just don't understand how there's not, like, in today's NFL where we have the booth watching the games to correct plays on the fly to help speed up the pace of play. Why they can't look at something like this and go, clearly this guy was tackled by his face mask. Look, I don't know if Sam Darnold would have led his team down the field the rest of the way and scored and got the 2-point conversion to watch the end of the game. But by the rule of law, by the football game itself, like, they should have had the opportunity.
Well, and this directly impacted the outcome because, again, that was a safety. So instead of continuing the drive and potentially going for a tie, if you score and get the 2-point conversion, now all of a sudden you're down by 10. It's a 2-score game.
Well, yeah, and the thing is not only are you getting a new fresh set of downs, you're also moving the ball forward 15 yards. So now you're out of the shadow of your own goalpost. You can run a regular offense because they were kind of in that mode of like they were just trying to get a yard or two.
Well, and here's the other part: the Vikings are a good team this year,
and they are. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, just like as a sports fan, I felt robbed by not getting a chance to see what would happen under normal circumstances.
Yeah. Terrible. And
piss poor officiating.
Yeah, the Rams would go on to win by that 10-point margin. After the game, lead official Trey Blake said the incident went unpenalized because none of his officiating crew had a clear look at it.
Well, that's fine. How does the booth not radio down immediately and say, this was A, an unsafe play, and B, it should be called a penalty?
I mean, I agree with that in theory, but right now they can't do that.
Why?
Because that's not in the rules of football.
Well, then that's a dumb rule. Like, how did they get this far into the rule book and they forgot to make the rule make sense?
You forget that a couple of years ago they did make it so you could challenge a penalty, and it went horribly.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, this was one that everybody saw.
I mean, I agree with that part of it, but as the rules are written right now, you can't just be like, today we're going to radio down and we're going to say, nah, that was a face mask. Let's keep it going.
But why? Like, why not get together the rules committee right now this week and say, like, this shouldn't happen in a game?
Oh, I'm for that. Yeah,
I mean,
if they do it right now and going forward, but it's still not going to change. They couldn't have done it in the moment.
I mean, I understand that. What I'm saying is it's a plausible solution to the problem. Like, why isn't that already a part of the rules?
Different level of football, but didn't they already change the rule, like the Oregon versus Ohio State? When they put the 12 men on the field on purpose.
They closed the loophole on the dead ball.
They closed that loophole already.
And that's what I was saying. Like, going forward, I totally agree with you. That should be made right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, if there's an egregious face mask, we should be able to say that was a face mask.
Yeah,
that doesn't count.
If there's something that everyone can clearly see on replay, like, we should make the right call. That's the whole reason replay exists, is to right a wrong.
Yeah. Either way, really bad job out of the officials because you shouldn't have needed replay.
They suck.
It was terrible. He was 3 feet from him and couldn't make the goddamn call.
As an official, that's one of the things you look for, right, when a tackle gets made.
That's like the number one thing you look. Did that guy get tackled by his face mask?
Is that guy looking out of his ear hole now? Oh, that's probably a face mask.
Probably not good.
On that play, they just decided not to look at the quarterback, not to look at the ball carrier. They were looking somewhere else.
This was a really good game.
We're watching the play.
What the hell's happening?
Nobody saw it happen. Nobody saw the guy with the ball get tackled by his head.
Like, literally, the only explanation, because the line judge was looking directly at what was happening, is he was completely spaced out. He was like, I
don't know how they called it a safety if nobody was watching the play.
Right.
How did they
Eventually, when the play was over, they're like, oh, he got tackled in the end zone.
How did they know he got tackled in the end zone?
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Terrible job. Had to call that out because the refs are awful. And it's like league-wide. We won't get into that right now, but it's like, it seems like the refs get worse and worse every week.
They are quite literally the worst part of football.
Yeah, 100%. But one more thing before we get into the Browns, let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want hot takes.
We want hot takes.
We want hot takes. 330-227-8080.
Hot takes. Oh, 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now. Operators are?
Nobody's there.
But we want to put you on air and talk about your take.
I will be there shortly once you leave the voicemail.
Yeah. You'll be here.
Yeah.
We won't be there, but you'll be here.
I'll be here.
Yeah. And if you're looking for the weekly recap, you're looking in the wrong place.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
Nice. I like that. Our weekly recaps are now done on Sunday nights live after the games. So go back into whichever podcast platform you're listening or watching on and find our live episode from Sunday night.
We actually had fun Sunday because we won. So
we won. It was a good time. We talked about football.
Yeah, we talked about football for once. Yeah.
Yeah. Good time. But that'll lead us to the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week.
Doesn't matter, man. You got to play tough people in the National Football League. You got to be ready, and we got to be the dogs that we are every time we step on there on Sunday and be ready to attack and don't stop until we're in that locker room.
All right. So after the fan vote that was conducted on social medias today, we have the winner for Dog of the Week.
We do?
And so wait, we're not ready yet.
There's a winner?
In case anyone doesn't know how we do this now, we wanted to get the fans involved. We wanted to get our listeners involved.
We love the fans.
So we want them to choose the Dog of the Week. So we each nominate somebody.
The fans don't like us, but we love the fans.
Hell yes. We nominate somebody on our live show Sunday nights. This week, Kenny nominated JOK. I nominated Jameis Winston because I got to go first. And Bone nominated Cedric Tillman, who had 2 touchdowns and 99 yards. Should have got 1 more yard. Bad job out of him.
Bad job. If he was a true number 1 receiver, he would have.
Yeah. But this week's Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week is Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
That's right. He's played 1 game for the Cleveland Browns, and he now has more 300-yard passing games than Deshaun has in 19.
Famous Jameis.
So
he looked just like Joe Flacco.
Man, it looked
running
awfully familiar.
yeah. What did we say when they signed Jameis Winston? What was the quote from our show?
He was the younger, more athletic Joe Flacco.
Yeah. And isn't it weird that he looked exactly like Joe Flacco, except younger and more athletic?
I had been saying that Joe Flacco was the best quarterback I'd ever seen in Browns colors, and now Jameis is also the best quarterback I've ever seen in Browns colors. Yeah.
He
led the NFL in passing yards this week.
Yeah, he's up for Air Player of the Week.
Yeah.
He was 27 of 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I don't care what you say about how many he should have thrown. He threw 0.
Yeah. I watched Aaron Rodgers almost throw 3 picks this week. I watched Dak Prescott almost throw 2 picks.
It happens
this
every week.
Yeah.
And they were almost, so they don't count.
And his rating this week was 115.3. So
hell yes.
Fantastic game out of Jameis Winston. He actually did set a Cleveland Browns record for the most yards in a Cleveland Browns debut for a quarterback.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just remember, this is what Stefanski and company have been hiding from you all year long.
True.
You had to watch piss poor quarterback play week after week, losing games on purpose.
And we got this guy.
And
this guy sitting on the bench.
Was just sitting there watching it.
Next week, put him at 3rd string.
All he's been wanting to do all week long was eat some dubs.
Eat some dubs. We wouldn't let him.
We didn't want it. We ain't want it.
That makes you hungry for B-dubs.
Hell yes.
I got gift certificates.
Once again, Jameis Winston, the Burning River Sportscast Dog of the Week. And in other Browns news, JOK is A-OK after a scare in Sunday night's game. I should write headlines all the time, but...
Inverted pyramid.
Yeah. What?
Inverted pyramid.
That's how you write news briefs. Most important to least important.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, I got it. Yeah, okay. Anyways, he seems to be doing fine. He tweeted out and said he was good to go. It seems like it's probably just a concussion or like a stinger type thing. I
didn't see an actual diagnosis. Did they come out with it?
They didn't actually say what it was. I'm sure he'll probably be questionable this week.
A neck injury on the field.
I'm thinking it was like a stinger, but he also got knocked out, so he probably has a concussion. So, but I'm thinking the stinger aspect of it. You come to and you're like, my neck don't feel right. You probably get immobilized and taken to the hospital.
Get that dude a Q collar.
Yeah, just got to get a Q collar.
ASAP. JOK is A-OK with this Q collar.
But not much more in other Browns news because we won.
Because the Browns won.
All's right with the world, so there's no drama this week.
Everything's great. All the players love the fans and the fans love the players.
It's a good day.
It's like Christmas in Cleveland.
Yep. But that'll take us to the division roundup. Okay, so for the division roundup this week, Baltimore played on Monday night last week as we were recording last week's episode. So we'll add that game in here. They defeated the Buccaneers after both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans went down for the Bucs. I was right in that game. You guys are both wrong.
Dang it.
So
we missed.
Feels bad for you guys.
Yeah.
And as Baltimore did last week, Pittsburgh is playing the Giants right now on Monday Night Football, so we'll add that score into next week's update. Currently leading 6-3.
Spoiler alert: we all picked the Steelers. So
we did.
If they lose, we're all wrong.
Yeah, but if they win, we're all right. Yeah.
I'm all right. Nobody worry about me.
I'm all right. Nobody worry about me.
Oh, wow.
Caddyshack?
Yeah. Cincinnati got absolutely humped by the Eagles, 37-17.
Didn't see that coming.
Wow. No, we were all wrong here. That was two ass teams, and it turns out that Cincinnati Bengals are ass.
Was the bigger ass?
Yeah.
They're not good.
Yeah, they're really bad.
I didn't know that they were that bad, but I mean, I guess they did just barely beat the Browns when the Browns were playing.
I think
Deshaun
mostly
Watson.
Deshaun.
I think we got lulled a little bit by Philadelphia early in the season because A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith were out for a couple of weeks. So their offense sputtered and they lost a couple of games and they didn't score any points for a few weeks. So like when you look back at the Eagles in totality, you're like, they lost to some shitty teams. You're kind of like, they're not very good, but they may be better than
probably better than we
anticipated.
Think. Yeah, that's fair. But we were all wrong, so it doesn't matter. And then Cleveland got a huge and emotional win over the Ravens this week. We were all wrong. Hey, nobody see this coming.
Hey, I'm happy to be wrong about this.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I pick against the Browns and I'm wrong.
Anytime they beat the Ravens is a
fantastic
good day.
news.
Yeah. You hate the Ravens more than anyone.
Did you see we've beaten them 4 out of the last 6 times we've played them?
Well, the Ravens are ass.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the only.
Well, we were good once.
we were.
We were a playoff team once.
And so for the AFC North, the standings are as follows. Pittsburgh is up top right now at 5-2, potentially 6-2. They've got a cupcake matchup with the Giants right now, as we just talked about. So should be 6-2 after this week. We'll see what actually happens. Baltimore in second place at 5-3, Cincinnati at 3-5, and Cleveland just one game behind Cincinnati now at 2-6.
Look, y'all made fun of me in 9-8 winning the division. We have 5 division games left, so that's 5 wins for the Browns and 5 losses to the rest of these teams.
Let's do it.
Cincinnati's going nowhere fast. Baltimore, we might have provided a blueprint for, and Pittsburgh, I still, even though they're winning games, I'm still maintaining they're not one of the top teams in the NFL. So.
I would agree with that. So, current King of the North standings, Bone back down to 500 at 14-14. I'm right behind him at 13-15. And Kenny, you're right back where you belong in the basement at 12-16.
Thank you, Jim.
How's that feel? I don't care. Let's take a quick trip around the NFL. All right, so to start the trip around the NFL, I just want to say Aaron Rodgers lost again.
They were 2-3, fired their coach, and now they've been 0-3 since.
Mike Greenberg wrote a big long story about how the Jets are the biggest disappointment in football this year and possibly ever in football.
And all I can say is watch the Browns,
right?
Like, I don't know if he wrote that because he just wrote it after Sunday, and it's like. You saw that Jameis Winston came in and threw for 300 yards. And there may be light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, and the Jets got nothing. They got nothing. They're just ass.
I mean, they love to write about the Jets. I don't understand this national fascination with the Jets. Like, was Joe Namath that good that like they're still Jets fans just from the Joe Namath days?
The goddamn Jets.
Have they been good in other times? Like, I feel like they've always been ass.
It does seem
one year under Brett Favre. Did they go to the playoffs?
They were 500 that year. They traded them to Minnesota.
Yeah, I just don't understand it either because they're talked about in the same like breath as like as much as I hate them, teams. Like the Steelers who have won a ton of championships,
NFL
like the 49ers, the Chiefs even. Like
I mean, they have a good chant. Jets, Jets. Like, that's about it though.
Yeah, don't ever say that on the show again.
I'm just saying that's the only thing they got going for them.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like even their colors.
The Jets are trash.
Even their colors and jerseys.
Should we go back to season 1? The Jets are trash.
Ugly and shitty.
The trashiest trash I ever saw. I don't know. I just don't get it. But Aaron Rodgers lost again, so that feels good because everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers is so good. He's washed.
I don't like Aaron Rodgers as a person, but yeah, I mean, it's just validation.
He's getting weird, man. Did you see his comments after the game? They're like, "What do you think about the skid?" He's like, "They just got to go into the darkness and accept it."
He said, "I've been in the darkness."
It's true. He locked himself in the cave for weeks and was doing Alahuska.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
If you're Robert Saleh, are you secretly like smiling inside?
Probably.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're 0-3 since he left.
Yeah.
He just got hired by somebody, too, to be an assistant on their staff. Was it Minnesota or someone, maybe?
It was one of his buddies. I think it was Minnesota. Like, he's buddies with
Green Bay,
O'Connell, right? Or
I don't know. He got a decent gig out of it, regardless. Probably better than playing for the losing.
He's
Jets.
double dipping now, right? He's getting paid by paid by the Jets and paid by the new team. So next up here, Anthony Richardson took himself out of the game.
What was that?
He said he was tired.
His post-game press conference, he literally said, they asked him about it, he said, I'm not gonna lie, man, I was tired.
You can't say that.
He was straight up like I was running around a lot.
He said, I ran 3 plays in a row. Ran a lot. I was
How tired could he be? He completed 10 passes. He was like 10 of 37.
Like, as a quarterback, you just can't say that. You're the leader of the football team. You can't be like, I wasn't in.
They're running him into the ground, man, using and abusing him.
Let's talk about this. Like, is that your actual take, Bone? Are you fucking with me right now? Okay, good. The dude's a quarterback. Like, it's not like you could take plays off. Like,
no, you don't get
wide receivers are the divas.
You don't get to do I need 2 plays.
Yeah, wide receivers are the divas where they run a long route and you're like, I got to come out for a play. I'm tired.
Like, has that guy seen Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels play?
Have they ever taken themselves out of a game?
No, they run.
Well, Lamar Jackson had shit once. Yeah. Besides that, though, that's
but he was going to poop on the field.
Yeah,
nobody wants that.
Nobody wants poop on the field. That would have been a biohazard.
Those pants are so thin, it would have went right through.
Yeah.
Sliding in the first field, first diarrhea.
So, bad job out of Anthony Richardson because, oh my God, Will Levis is over here kissing mayonnaise. The only quarterback worse than Anthony Richardson this week is Will Levis.
Mason Rudolph came and played okay over there. I think they lost again maybe, but they played better.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Anthony Richardson, bad job out of you. Not only did you play like shit, you took yourself out of the game because you were tired.
You can't take yourself out of the game.
It's a bad job.
That's not okay.
Bad luck. Bad luck.
And then finally, and around the NFL here, the Washington and Chicago game had a crazy ending.
Wild ass ending. It was a slow, awful game to begin with, and Washington led most of it, and Chicago came back towards the end and finally went up with I think like 30 seconds left on the clock, and then they went into a very poor prevent defense. Chicago did, and let Jane Daniels rip off like a nice 20-yarder to the sideline just because there was nobody guarding anyone for the whole field. So at that point they had the ball.
They took deep as the deepest way too literally, and they had the ball with 2 seconds left at midfield. And I don't remember. It was Tyreek. Gosh, I can't remember his name from Chicago, but he was taunting the Commander's sideline. I was going to say that terrible prevent defense came complete with some taunting of the fans.
Yeah, taunting of the fans, and Jaden Daniels scrambled around quite a bit, finally rolled back to his left and just launched the ball about 60 yards in the air, and the guy that was doing the taunting deflected the ball to Noah Brown in the end zone for a touchdown.
Like, not only were you taunting the fans instead of playing the game, he didn't even start paying attention till halfway through the play.
Yeah, then he ran over there
and you made the dumbest mistake a DB could make on a Hail Mary is you deflected the ball up instead of down.
The only play that you can't make.
Yeah.
Either intercept it or knock it down.
Yeah. You never let the ball bounce up off your hands.
No.
Because somebody will catch it. And they did. And
I was shocked. The baby was crying and Christina was trying to take care of it. And I was glued to the TV. I was like, you could watch 100 football games and you might never see this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. This never happens.
The best part to me was watching the reactions from both sides.
Oh yeah, heartbreak, utter heartbreak, disbelief. And just a pure joy of we just won a game we shouldn't have.
Yeah, Chicago on their side, what's the quarterback's name that's a complete bust? He's not yet, but he will be.
Caleb Williams?
Caleb Williams was just sitting on the sideline. He got so angry, he just started swearing at everybody. He was just walking around swearing at everyone. The Washington, who's their coach right now?
Is
Quinn.
Quinn was literally just watch his reaction to it. It was like a roller coaster of emotions just from start to finish. Yeah, he was just looking for somebody to hug.
Yeah.
Somebody hug me.
Yeah, it was just a fantastic ending to a game. Just so exciting.
A lot of good endings to games this week.
But yeah, that'll do it for our trip around the NFL. Let's go ahead and get into Hot 3.
I'm the heat in your lungs. I'm the smoke in the sky. I'm the gas in the tank. Gonna turn it up, turn it up. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot to the touch. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot like fire.
All right, boys. This week for Hot 3, we're doing fall activities.
Ooh,
because it's fall. And And I want to know what your hot 3 fall activities are.
I love the fall.
Okay, we'll start with Bone.
Okay.
He volunteered. Wow. That's what I heard.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
All right.
Bone.
So every week I like to write down like 6, 7, maybe 20 answers. So I'm going to narrow it down. I'm going to narrow it down to 3.
His favorite part of fall is Stefanski.
Yeah, you love Stefanski.
I don't love him.
You're a big fan.
I was just giving an alternative perspective.
Is that what you were doing? You seemed like you came pretty hard for like
You came pretty hard. Alternative universe.
I couldn't even finish the thought. Why did that
Bon
sentence
appetit.
come out of me?
Bon appetit.
That show was so sexual.
Hiking. I saw this on yours before, but I like hiking.
I need to stop putting my answers down
well,
so you guys can see it.
It's just pretty. Fall colors, walking through the woods. I recently found a new little park in our area. It was kind of small. I walked with my girls through the area, and it was way bigger than I thought it was. And I've driven past this park for like, I don't know, 5 years, and I never thought anything of it, but I finally went and visited it. And
now you love
it. It was really good. Number 2, I'm going to put, man, is this an activity? I just like wearing hoodies to any activity. So like being able to wear a hoodie in like the cool brisk air, I just find fantastic. So any activity is made better by being able to like wear layers. So I appreciate that.
Wow, wearing hoodies. Yeah. I never thought that would have come up in fall activities. What's your favorite fall activity? I really like wearing hoodies.
Yeah, and this kind of leads right into my number 1, and that's having a fire like on the back porch, like just with the family doing s'mores. You're wearing a hoodie. A fire like in the summer just isn't that great because it's hot as shit.
Sweaty,
you're sweating.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah, the one girl's like, make me a marshmallow, and the other one's like, I want one too, and here's your s'mores, and I'm sweating, and it's just hot. So I like having a hoodie on around the fire behind my house with the old Solo stove. It's just nice. I enjoy it. I'm a big fan of just a regular fire pit as well, but I just don't have the spot.
I just wrote bonfire for you. Just any type of fire.
Yeah, any type of fire. Yeah.
Five alarm
and
fire.
I like smelling like a fire.
House
to tell you the
fire.
truth.
It's one of my favorite smells in the world.
I love that smell.
Can I tell you a story about smelling like fire?
Sure.
We had a friend named Biggins who was 6'8" and 400 pounds, and his house they used to heat with a wood burning stove. And as a joke, he just used to smash people and hold them and hug them and lay on them so they couldn't move. And I was one of those people, and he always smelled like a fire. And now I don't like the smell.
Good story.
And now I don't like the smell.
Shout out to Hightower. I miss you, man.
I'll go next. We'll leave Kenny for last.
Oh boy, mine are good. So
number 3 for me.
You thought wearing hoodies was good.
Number 3 for me is a football game. Only happens in the fall. It's kind of one of the like things like it's fall.
Spring football.
It's not the same.
I'm just saying it happens.
Like traditionally, football happens in the fall, and that's how you know it's like the good football season.
Fair enough. You want to piece all the action.
So, football game for me. I'll be honest, Bone. Once you said bonfire, that almost overtook football game for me because bonfires are dope.
We should have a bonfire.
Dope is dope.
Just the Burning River.
The Burning River bonfire.
Yeah, just get together and have a little fire.
I like it. We do everything with fire.
Burning River bonfire.
We'll just film it. It won't be anything good. It'll just be like we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
An idea for a new show.
Yeah.
But anyways, number 2 for me was hiking. Bone stole it from me. But we are very fortunate that we live in a place where you get all 4 seasons. In the fall especially, it's just beautiful in Northeast Ohio. All the leaves are changing. There's lots of different scenery when you're out on all these different hikes. The Cuyahoga Valley National Park's right here. The Summit Metro Parks are actually fantastic. So I like going hiking in the fall. It's my favorite time to go hiking. If you haven't done it, sign up for the Summit County Fall Hiking Spree. You get a hiking stick, and you get a little badge or medallion to put on it every year that you complete the hiking spree.
Do you have to go hiking to get the walking stick?
Yes, you're out. But Bone could probably get it. Bone would enjoy it. So you're like your girl. It'd be a good thing
I've heard of this for quite a while. I've never pursued it.
You only have to do the hikes are all fairly short, and it's you have to complete 8 of them in a 2.5 month span.
Bone, you go get me the stick, and I'll take the stick. You do the walk.
All right.
Yeah. So it's a good time. We signed our daughter up for it, so she's got one each year since she's been born. So.
Oh wow!
Wait, she can't.
She
walk.
doesn't even walk.
It doesn't matter. You could carry her as long as she goes on the hike.
Right.
And they also give them out for dogs. So it's like they keep it flat for a dog tag.
That's cool.
So if I ride my dog, I'll get a stick.
Sure. Yeah, you can do it that way.
Or if you carry me.
I won't carry you. You're fat.
Wow.
You're just really big, man.
Wow.
You weigh more than I could carry for that long.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're not a very good hiker.
And then finally, for number one, I really enjoy going to the pumpkin patch or the farm.
Yeah, good choice.
All the activities that come along with it, especially, like I said, we live in Northeast Ohio where there's a lot of farms that do pumpkins, corn mazes, hay rides, all those things. Like, there's honestly probably too many of them.
Okay.
But it's just a really good time to take the little ones, or even just go like you and your significant other and just hang out and have some hot apple cider or something to drink. Just doing fall shit.
Do you know those like big jumping trampoline things they have, like the big bubbles at those things? So, sorry to steal your there's this picture of my daughter when she was like in preschool. They went on a field trip, and the teacher posts these pictures to, I think it's called like Class Dojo or something. So you can go back later and see what happened during the day. And we look in the background, and there's this picture of my daughter like landing on her head, like she got double bounced, and somebody had just captured this picture, and we're like, is that Paisley back there? Like, she's about to crash.
just
crash
breaking her neck?
Yes. It was a great picture. It was just so funny that got captured at that moment.
Man.
But,
yeah. No, I mean, all the things that they do, it's just a really enjoyable place to be on like a weekend day when you don't have anything to do. So, Kenny, what are your hot three? What could possibly beat wearing hoodies?
I'll be honest. I suggested this topic, and then it kind of got morphed into something that I didn't expect, and I kind of hate the topic because I don't really like the fall.
You thought you liked the fall, and it turns out you don't like the fall.
Well, again, the topic kind of morphed from what I had initially suggested. But it's fall activities now, and I'll play the game. Number three, my favorite fall pastime is thinking about Thanksgiving.
Just thinking about it, not actually doing it.
I think about it a lot.
Just thinking about it.
I like Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving.
It's my favorite
too.
part of the fall.
It's my favorite holiday, but like Thanksgiving is in the fall. You know that, right? But Thanksgiving, isn't it? It's thinking about Thanksgiving.
Well, that's my favorite fall activity. Is to think about Thanksgiving.
mentally preparing.
Yeah, like I think about how delicious everything's going to be.
You don't want to actually go to all the family parties and do all the stuff. You just want to think about it.
Oh, no. Like Thanksgiving as a kid was much better. Well, I'll tell you what. Thanksgiving, like the year I turned, like from like 21 to 23 was the best because like I would just be at my parents' house. I'd watch football all day, get drunk, and then have delicious food all day. Now, like as an adult, like I am obligated to go to like family parties and things, or even host my own Thanksgiving, which is super stressful. Like, and I don't get to watch football like I used to, and I don't get to get drunk and just have a good time. Like I have to do things, and I don't like to do things.
Fair. Fair. Yeah, that's why I said you're out on hiking.
Yeah, just fall like there's the default to me is kind of
that's it. That's your only thing in your hat 3 is thinking about Thanksgiving.
It honestly could have been because the fall honestly to me is like it's like the dying part of the year. Like I like the wintertime because I like the snow. Spring is like the rebirth and like I can start to go outside and do things. Summer is great because that's all my favorite activities: boating and golfing and just doing things outside. And then fall is like it gets cold and there's not a lot to do.
Let's be honest. The only reason you like the snow is because it keeps you indoors.
I think it's pretty. I like when it actually snows. Like it feels like
in Northeast Ohio, that's for like 30 minutes, and then people start driving in it. It gets a little gross.
Like I like snow from Christmas to New Year's, and then like I'm done with it. The problem is it lasts till like April.
I like it for literally an hour.
But anyway, number 2. This is kind of a lie, but pumpkin patch. Mostly
just opening up.
There's only so many activities to choose from.
Mostly because I used to work on the farm, and we had a lot of fun picking pumpkins when I was young.
Were you the cow?
The cow?
Like, were you the cow? You were on the farm because you're big?
No, I literally just said I picked pumpkins on the farm. Why would I be a cow?
You worked at the farm. I just figured you were the cow.
It wasn't a livestock ranch. It was a farm where we grew pumpkins, and I picked them for customers, and that was a lot of fun. Number 1, I guess if this has to be an activity, I'll call it drinking cider. Cider is
the worst
cider is my
I've ever heard.
Cider is my all-time favorite drink of all time. I love fresh cider, so I guess it's a fall activity. Like I would go to an orchard. I have no interest in picking my own apples, but I like to go to the orchard to get fresh cider and
tasting,
and then drink it.
But just drinking cider is.
But drink. I mean, what else do you do with cider? Like I could look at it in my fridge, I guess, but I like to drink it.
No, like you just mentioned, you don't like to actually go do any of the things.
No, I just want the cider.
Just drinking the cider.
Yeah, just drinking the cider.
Fair.
Because you could drink it cold, you could drink it hot, you could drink it in the morning, you could drink it at night, you could drink it any time of day, and it's delicious. Last week when I asked Bone what his favorite drink would be on a desert island,
yours would be cider.
Mine was going to be cider, but he didn't ask. He just answered his own selfishly, and then we went
Cold
on.
beer.
Yeah.
When did you ask me this?
At the beginning of last week's preview show.
So that's it. Thinking about Thanksgiving pumpkin patch of cider.
We just got our audience just got some real insight into like what goes on in your head on a daily basis, and it was depressing. Like it was absolutely awful.
That's why I'm on meds.
Yeah. I guess that'll do it for our hot three. Kenny, I think it's time for an interview. Maybe that'll brighten your spirits.
Thank God.
So what we started last year, and we're continuing it this year, is our Browns Backers interview series. What we want to do is highlight Browns Backers from around the country and around the world, really, because they're doing a lot of great things in their communities on top of being dope-ass Browns fans.
Hell yes.
So let's go ahead and get into the next interview in the series.
Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, guys, for this Browns Backers interview, please help me welcome all the way from the West Coast, the president of the San Diego Browns Backers, Michael. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, Michael. How are you today?
I'm living the dream out here in California, the land of fruits and nuts.
Having a good time soaking up the sun, huh? So, listen, Michael, tell us a little bit about your chapter out there.
I assumed authority in 2019, the season of great expectations. And I'd been a member. I found the Browns Backers probably 6 or 7 years before that. And I wormed my way into a leadership position, just basically helping out. And the guy that was our president before me, he moved back to Akron, where he grew up a couple of years ago. But yeah, I just got involved and, helped put the last Backers Bash that we had the last time the Browns actually played in San Diego, which was awesome. We got like 1,500 people showed up. There used to be a practice field right off of Qualcomm Stadium's parking lot. I actually reached out, and Jerry Shirk agreed to come and showed up. Super nice guy. So yeah, I've been involved since 2019. 2020 was screwed up because I used to host Zoom meetings so that we could watch the game. So 2021, 2020, of course, COVID killed our bar. So the bar went out of business. 2021, we were going to pivot and go down to Pacific Beach. And then it dawned on me 8 days before the start of the season. Oh, crap. We open against Kansas City, and it's a late start. Nobody will be able to find parking at the beach at, 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So we pivoted and went to a bar downtown. We were there for a year. We made the best of a bad situation, but there's a lot of homeless out here, so it's not uncommon that you've got a crazy person walks into the bar talking to themselves, screaming and yelling. So yeah, it was kind of like a drunk Steeler fan wandered in, and then we ended up going back to the bar that went out of business, but it was under a new proprietor. And since that time, the bar was sold again. But we're in Kearny Mesa, so it's kind of the heart of San Diego, and when the Browns are winning, we draw between 150 and 200 people a weekend. And most people are, I can't believe there's that many people from Cleveland out here. The other benefit we have is every week I've got people that are in town visiting. And, they love coming to see us because what we provide is we make you feel like you are in Cleveland, except you look outside and you say, damn, the weather's nice here.
I was actually just in San Diego recently, so
and you didn't call me up.
I didn't. It was planning these Browns Backers interviews so far ahead of time. Everything kind of gets mixed together. I'm giving myself excuses, but I should have called you guys. I don't know that we were actually around you on Sunday. I think we were actually up towards LA on Sunday. But either way, we were in San Diego, and the weather was fantastic while I was there. That was just a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Well, up until this last year, my previous bar owner was willing to kind of look the other way. I used to have Great Lakes beer shipped out here so that people could have Great Lakes beer. Now, my new bar owner is an awesome guy, but he said, "Look, I'm not going to lose my liquor license so that you can have beer." He goes, "I got 30 different types of beer on tap. If you can get, if I can get Great Lakes shipped out here, which you can't, I'll put it on my tap line." So, yeah, and then we also serve the Cleveland taco. Now, do you know what a Cleveland taco is? Of course you do. Because what is a taco? A taco is a piece of bread with some meat in it. So a Cleveland taco is 100% all beef hot dog with stadium mustard on it. That's a Cleveland taco. And we have a Cleveland taco special, so you get, any beer you want, fries, and a Cleveland taco for $15.
Nice. You don't got to risk your liquor license over importing the stadium mustard, so that's good.
Yeah.
No. And the guys from Stadium Mustard are great. They love it. And then the other thing we do is we offer what I consider, and I'm not going to speak ill of another Browns backer club, but I have the most awesome raffles every weekend. I have between 9 or 10 prizes. The top prize is always a signed, stitched jersey. And, so like this last weekend, we had a Greg Newsome jersey. Second prize was a Nick Chubb stitched jersey. It just wasn't signed. And usually the last prize is a bottle of stadium mustard.
With the way he's been playing, you had trouble getting somebody to take the Greg Newsome jersey?
No, because people just, look, we're so far away from the mothership. Anything orange and brown will sell. I could take dried dog turds and, basically spray paint them orange and brown and sell them. So I want to I'm going to do a naked plug. So this is one of our merchandise that we sell. And if you don't want to use it as a hunting cap, you can always wear the brown one. Now, we have people from all over find out about these things, and they buy them because, if you're right of center and you like Trump, you buy it because it's going to irritate the hell out of your liberal friends. And then the other people that are liberal that have kind of a good sense of humor, they buy it because they love the Browns and they know it's going to tweak off their other liberal friends. So we do, we make our own T-shirts, we have some drinkware, we do hoodies, and it's just to make people feel like they're part of something, because that's what being a Browns fan is. You're part of something. It's like the mafia. Once you're in, you never get out.
Yeah.
And so, I was born into this. I was born in Collinwood. We moved to Lakewood when I was 5 as the neighborhood was changing. I'm the oldest of 4 boys. My earliest I can remember probably 1966, the NFL championship game, losing to the Cowboys. And then moved out here in 1984 when the Super Bowl was played in San Diego, when we lost on the fumble game. I had 2 tickets lined up if the Browns beat the Broncos for my dad to come out for us to go to the Super Bowl in San Diego. Needless to say, that didn't happen. So,
If only.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a couple places there. So Lakewood is where my sister-in-law lives, and Collinwood, actually, that's always a fun one that comes up because it's the home of more recent NFL history. Cecil Shorts, who went to Mount Union, small Division III school that basically only Ohioans and anybody else that plays them in the playoffs knows about. But yeah, from a Division III school, was a big star down there for the Texans, correct? So yeah.
Yeah, well, back in the day, Collinwood was a super vibrant neighborhood, and there was a huge GM. The Fisher Body Plant was there. There were hundreds and hundreds of people that worked in 3 shifts around the clock. So, Yeah, Cleveland has changed. I mean, I go back 2 or 3 times a year because I cannot get anything close to a Mr. Hero hot buttered steak in California. And so, in good Cleveland fashion, I try and keep my cholesterol high. So I got to go back there and, hit. I usually hit the one on Puritas Road. Mr. Patel owns it. It's a good friend of mine, been going there for 25 years, drop off a T-shirt or 2 from time to time. And, I pick it up and then go through security and eat it sitting at the gate at Southwest on my, way back to San Diego.
Nice.
Do you ever think about moving back this way, or is the weather just too nice out there?
Look, the weather is awesome here. When I moved here, California was literally the land of opportunity. I'll admit I'm politically right of center, not crazy, but having one party rule in any type of government is horrible because here we have crazy and crazier. So, it's all about, let's give, in-state tuition to illegal aliens to go to college. Let's do this. Let's do that. We've spent in the last 5 years, $24 billion on homeless, and we have more homeless than ever before. So the answer to your question is I'm looking at it. I probably would do the snowbird thing, but I would be a resident of the state of Tennessee or Florida for tax reasons and, summer in Cleveland. I miss the people.
Don't give the IRS all of your plans. Just right here. Yeah, you can't reveal that stuff.
I can go wherever I want to go.
No, but I mean, yeah. So you mentioned a couple things there. One was just everybody getting together. I mean, that's what the Browns backers and Browns fans are all about. Is they have this place where there's a sense of community, kind of away from home, away from Cleveland, where they all get together. But something else that all of the Browns backers groups are involved with is charity or community service. So, are you guys involved with any community service or charity work out there?
Yeah, and I'll do a naked plug. There's only one thing that we support locally, and that's the San Diego Humane Society. A buddy of mine's wife works there, but it's not because she works there. But we do every year a Dogs for Dogs raffle. DAWGS, the number 4, DOGS. I know, very original. And the Browns with their backers club, you can apply for a signed piece of memorabilia. They'll send you a football or a jersey or something, and then we have a separate raffle for that. We usually raise, $1,000, $1,200 for that, and then the rest of our charitable work. And I'll be blunt, nobody gives a rat's ass about the Browns in San Diego except Browns lovers. So why should I support any charities out here? We send all of our money back to the Cleveland Browns Foundation. And this last summer when I was at training camp, I spoke to one of the Browns executives. And he goes, Mike, it's not just we put school supplies in a backpack for these kids. These kids are impoverished. He said, sometimes we buy them clothes, we buy them shoes, sometimes we buy groceries for the family. So since I've been the president, we've donated over $13,000 to the Browns Foundation. The Browns this year, they ask all the clubs to, one game. And so we've already sent them $1,500. Last year we sent them $4,000. I don't think I'm going to be able to match last year's total because, quite frankly, the people aren't coming out. This last weekend I had 21 people when usually, even when we were 1-15 and 0-16, we were down to the diehard 40. I did half that this last weekend. And it's just in San Diego, look, man, and I told the Browns this, I compete with the beach, the mountains, the desert, the golf course, jogging, running, hiking. I mean, there's so much stuff to do. And the Church of the NFL starts here at 10 a.m. Doors open at 9. And, you've got the rest of your day. So to sign up to watch the beating and the bad football that we had the earlier part of the year, except for yesterday, people are just like, they're over it. They got better things to do. And, if they show up, I know how to get them to part with their money, and the Browns Foundation benefits from that. And I'm proud of the work we do because, quite frankly, I would much rather beg people to buy T-shirts and hats. You can order one online. so that I can send money back and put food in some kid's belly and keep them in school.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah, I mean, just given all the things that you have to compete with out there, I mean, when you said that you have, when the Browns are doing well, 150, 200 people out there, I mean, that's really, really impressive with just all the things that are out that way. I mean, people are going on vacation for all sorts of reasons, and there's no shortage of things to do out there.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I mean, they've just been so damn bad this year, so bad. And it's a different type of bad. To your point, you mentioned the 0-16 team, the 1-15 team. It's a different type of bad because this team was supposed to be good, and it seems like we've willingly put ourselves in this hole throughout the entire season. But hopefully, with the way this last weekend went, you're going to get some of those viewers back and be able to fill the bar up a little bit this next week. So.
Look, I love the Browns. I'm not going to say anything bad about the Browns. When, I loved Baker Mayfield, and I got to tell you a story. So I was working the night of the draft when we had drafted Baker. The day of the draft, my coworker walks in. Now, his wife is married to her brother-in-law married Ernie Zampese's daughter. So my guy walks in, and remember, Ken Zampese was our offensive coordinator or part of our coaching staff. My buddy walks into my office the morning of the draft. He goes, "I'm going to tell you a secret." I said, "Yeah." He said, "They're drafting Baker Mayfield." He said, "Don't you breathe a word to it." But Kenny told Kristen, and Kristen told me to tell you. So, and I loved Baker, but what Baker showed us that he is a legit NFL quarterback. I hate to say it, but he's not an NFL franchise quarterback. The entire time he played with us, I think he had 1 or 2 come-from-behind victories. I think that in the early part of his career, he had that chip on his shoulder that he had always overcome, and I think it made him hard to coach. And especially that last year when he insisted on playing injured, I think that the team said, "Look, this guy, we can't coach this guy." And then Deshaun comes available, and if, you look at 4 years of Baker, you look at 4 years of Deshaun, and Deshaun was a legit NFL franchise quarterback. And so I don't fault the Browns for pushing all the marbles to the middle of the table because they were built to win now. And you look at the window, I mean, that window is shifted now. We've got guys that are old. We've got guys that are in their second, looking to a third contract, which are expensive. So, and I don't think anybody saw that Deshaun would lose his skills like he did. And I don't know if his not being able to have success has affected his head. And so now everybody's got to, toe the company line and believe in the guy. But I did not see our guys playing inspired football. Yesterday, I watched our guys play inspired football. They looked like they were having fun. And I don't think they'd had fun this year. I mean, we had 220 people at the Dallas game at my bar. Yesterday, I had 21. So I'm hoping that they will play competitive the rest of the year. I think they will. We're looking at a team that's in some areas long in the tooth, and they're going to have to, retool. But I think that the ownership is smart. I think they got really smart people working for them. And while this year, quite frankly, sucks, I don't think he's going to hit the blow up button. I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think that Jim Schwartz is a hell of a coach, and Andrew Berry has proved that, he's a pretty good judge of talent. So, I don't know what else to say, but it's tough watching what we've watched up until yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you talked about a lot of the things that I was going to actually ask you, is just like how the season's been going, your thoughts on different things. And I mean, you kind of, I think we all share the same thoughts of just what a disappointment this season has been, given all the expectations. I think that's the biggest takeaway is, regardless of your feelings on, like, say, Stefanski or Andrew Berry or any of these guys, the overall take is we're just all so disappointed.
Frustration, yeah.
Just because there was so much hype around this season. I mean, Shannon Sharp picked him to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, so, and he's he has pretty big show. He played some meaningful football. The guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to football, and he picked him to go to the Super Bowl, and here we are. But let me shift gears here real quick. I do want to ask you one thing.
Can I add one last thing that I didn't touch on?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think any of us thought that losing Bill Callahan would hurt as much as it does. That guy is, an offensive line whisperer. He took, the rap on DeJuan Jones was he wasn't motivated. He was just a big guy. And he figured out a way to motivate that kid to play beyond what anybody saw. And now Bill Callahan's not there, and DeJuan Jones is struggling a little bit. So, it's hard because an NFL team is like a three-dimensional chess game. It's who you got now, who you got over the horizon, where are you with the salary cap, what division are you playing next year and the following year, and everybody's good. So it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And Bill Callahan is somebody we've talked about extensively on our show, in the impact of not having him and what it's done to the offensive line in particular. But switching gears here real quick, I do want to ask you one thing. You're in a unique situation compared to a lot of other Browns fans. Because you live in San Diego. You have recently experienced a team moving from San Diego to LA. And so with all the stadium discussions and the fact that the Browns lost their team, obviously, 95, came back 99, all of that stuff. What are your thoughts on the stadium talks and them possibly moving to Brook Park? I know that they've said that's their intention at this point, but we'll see what the city of Cleveland has in store for them. So what are your thoughts?
So let me tell you the difference between San Diego and Cleveland. When Modell wanted to move the Browns and move the Browns, people went batshit crazy. I mean, there were pitchforks and torches down at City Hall. The politicians, did not lay down. The difference in San Diego is there are so many people here from somewhere else that people were just pissed off. And I gotta lay this at the feet of our local political leaders. Spanos is a real estate developer. He offered the city, sell me the site of Qualcomm Stadium for $1. I'll build a new stadium and I'll develop all the land around it. Oh, we can't give up. That's a valuable asset. That's $160 million. We're not going to. So they went round and round and round for like 12 years. They did a ballot measure. They wanted to put a stadium downtown. It lost because it would have required a subsidy. And he moved his team. Because just moving his asset from here to LA increased its worth by, $500 million. He's a businessman. The thing is, most people here in San Diego are like, fuck the Chargers. We don't care. We hate them. They're still diehard people. They'll drive up to LA. The Union Tribune still covers the Chargers, but the daily paper is like a quarter-inch thick. So the difference between Cleveland and San Diego is San Diego didn't have basically the desire to fight for their team. Cleveland did. And the one thing I'll say about Cleveland is Cleveland's biggest strength is its people. To be able to live there, it's resilient. I like to tell people to look at the difference between San Diego and Cleveland. 70 years ago, what was the 7th largest city in the country? Cleveland, Ohio. 7th largest city in the country today is San Diego. The difference is, the people in Cleveland, they believe in their town. You live and die with your team each week. I mean, hell, when the Cavaliers won, half the region, population-wise, showed up to the frickin' parade. And did they burn down the police station and overturn cars? No. Everyone was just stoked that they won. So that's the difference. And, I've lived here longer than I lived in Cleveland. I moved here when I was 26. I've been here 40 years. Do the math. But yeah, I see myself going back. And as far as the stadium goes, look, this is a big multi-billion-dollar business. And a stadium sitting on a lakefront that's used 12 times a year is a huge non-earning asset. You look at Indy, you look at Jerry World, you look at Robert Kraft and what he's built, and some of the other newer stadiums. It's the anchor for the real estate around it. And then and the new stadium will be privately owned, which means they're going to make sure it's not used 12 times a year because they got a couple $1 billion asset that needs to generate revenue. And it's, as much as I would love it to be downtown and all that, it's going to take them a decade to decertify Burke Lakefront Airport before they can even, do anything there. And remember, what is Burke Lakefront Airport? It's a landfill. You've got to drill all the way through the old garbage that was put there to be able to reach bedrock to put the foundation in for anything. So, that's, and they want to get this done now. And so, I think it'll be awesome. I mean, the airport, the stadium, the transportation's there, 2 freeways. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better spot. Unfortunately, it's not downtown.
Yeah, I would think that the discussions around developing the lakefront probably go back to even your time in Cleveland, Michael. It's been a decades and decades long discussion around what are we going to do with this land. We'd like to do something. Other cities have done it successfully and have nice lakefronts, and Cleveland doesn't. Why? And just around and around we go.
Well, if you remember when they tore down the stadium, they used to have a camera, I guess it was at City Hall, that overlooked the stadium, and you could log in from anywhere to watch the progress. I came back one time in one of my visits. The stadium had been torn down. The lot was cleared before they started building it. And the thing that astounded me was I couldn't believe how small the plot of land was that the stadium actually sat on. Because Cleveland Stadium is not surrounded by a sea of asphalt like San Diego Stadium was. A giant parking lot. A lot of stadiums are like that. It's not that big a piece of land. But I think that, what they've shown in Brook Park, I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, this last year I went up to SoFi. I took my 87-year-old uncle and my son, and we went up to watch the Browns-Rams game. That is an awesome stadium. We all wanted to see, what does $5 billion buy you? And what's really cool about it, it's open and it has a translucent roof, and it's literally under the approach into LAX. So it's not uncommon that you see the shadow of a 747 flying over the stadium.
Nice.
It's trippy. But, I mean, my seats were in peanut heaven looking at the Rams sideline, and I was one row from the top. And I could see everybody on their sideline, even with that ginormous scoreboard there. Wow. So I think that, a new stadium there that they use around, all year round for different events. They're going to have trade shows. They're going to have, a Final Four, that kind of stuff. Maybe a political convention. Who knows? But it's going to be a multi-purpose facility, and all the hotel taxes, the tourists, the sales tax revenue that's generated from people buying stuff and going to dinner, and it becomes a destination where right now you go downtown to hang out, but the bars aren't next to the stadium. You can kind of see the stadium from the flats in certain places, but there's no place to hang around the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, and it becomes gridlock downtown on game days. But I want to jump back into football here and kind of get your thoughts on the game coming up this weekend. What do you think? Well, first of all, have you heard anything being out there in San Diego, a lot closer to the team, to the LA Chargers than we are? Have you heard anything from any radio stations or anything like that talking about their team and where they think, how they think they are this year, where they're heading? And then also, what do you think is going to happen in the game against the Browns this week?
Well, the sports talk radio in San Diego doesn't cover the Browns like the Fan does in Cleveland. They don't cover the Chargers. I mean, there's people that call in. They do talk about the Chargers, but the Chargers aren't their focus. There's a lot of Raider fans. But I think that the Chargers. They've got some issues. They've got a really good quarterback. They've got a pretty good defense. So, if our defense can play like they did this last week, if our offensive line can get coached up and start play better so they can run block, because it's kind of hard to, Nick Chubb's awesome, but, there's 8 guys standing across from you and you're hoping to get through a crease so you can turn on the jets. Okay, that works 1 out of 40 times. But I think they showed us this last weekend that they can be competitive. They can play against a really good team. I mean, the Ravens had a couple of key injuries in their secondary, but they still had a bad pass defense, and we've got a guy that can throw the ball. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna pick the Browns to be like 24-17.
Oh, nice. 2 games in a row over 20 points.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. And I kind of, I think we haven't done our predictions yet on our show for this week, but I think you're probably in the same space as most of us here. It's the
first optimism that we've seen in a while.
Yeah,
so.
I'll speak for myself. After this last week, it's like I have a new lease on life when it comes to my Browns fandom. I was just kind of in the dumps like, man, this sucks just all season long. But now all of a sudden I'm excited to watch football again. Because I know that the Browns, if nothing else, even if they don't win, I think that from here on out, you can expect them to be competitive in every game and at least have a chance when it comes down to the end of the game. And some will go our way, some won't, but we're going to be a much different team than what we've seen so far.
Well, look, we were that close to being 1-7. I mean, Kyle Hamilton had a game-closing interception in his hands. The other guy was wide open, and it bounces off his face guard. So yeah, the gods look down. The football gods look down on the Browns. And
Jim Donovan helped out this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still go back to what is it that's different about Browns fans, and there's a few different teams in the NFL that can, quite frankly, compete with us. Bills fans love their team as much as we do. Packers fans travel well. As much as I despise the Steelers, I have to respect what they do. They travel well, just like we do. They have shown that, you just don't keep flipping people in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I mean, the entire time I've been an adult, graduated in 76, they've had 3 coaches.
Yep.
There were times we had 3 coaches in 4 years, 3 coaches in 3 years. So, I mean, you can't have stability like that. And they're stable. Do they hit on all their draft picks? No. But, they figure out ways to win, and they're exceptionally well coached. I have a lot of faith in, what they've done since, the 0-16 year and, getting rid of Hugh and Haley and just cleaning the house. And since that time, it seems like everybody's in the canoe. Everybody's rowing in the same direction. And that's the first thing. You got to have that before you can do all the others. And, this year has been exceptionally painful so far. But I think that yesterday we saw adults that are millionaires getting paid to play a kid's game, having fun. And that's infectious. And a win, if they can pull out another win and they go into their bye and they get healthy, we're not going to make the playoffs. But it would be nice if we could get to 8-9 or even 9-7. 9-7 would be awesome. Yeah. And just that will show the guys that are on the team, and a bunch of them aren't going to be here next year because they're too old, that this team didn't give up. Yeah. But then that leaves us to, what do we do next year when Deshaun is rehabbing and coming back from an Achilles? I got to tell you,
I'm just banking on him being out all of next year.
Yeah,
that's what I'm banking on.
We don't want to have that. We don't want to have that conversation again.
Yeah, let's not go there, Michael.
Well, I'm just hoping that they don't pick with their first round draft pick a quarterback, because you look at quarterback drafts. What is the franchise quarterback success rate with a first round draft pick? Is it like 15%? Even in the top half of the draft, half those players aren't all pros. They're serviceable. They're starters. The Browns have done an exceptional job of their mid to lower round draft picks finding really good players, but they've had an abysmal 20-year run at first round draft picks.
Yeah,
that's fair. It's funny you said that, Michael, about the Steelers. I think we all grew up hating the Steelers, but I think that's like the final step of maturity for all Browns fans is that you hate them, but then you finally realize that you want to at least respect them and the organization they have, because it really is impressive what they've done over there, even though we hate them so much.
Well, and I mean, who've they had? They've had a revolving door of quarterbacks since Roethlisberger left. They find a way to put it together, and they make the playoffs. I mean, I cannot stand Mike Tomlin. I think he's a punk, but he's a hell of a good football coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
It kills me to say it. God has blessed me in this job that I have now. My coworker, I love her to death. She's a Steelers fan. No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah, I'd say. Listen, we could trash Steelers fans all night long. I really could. I could spend so many hours just talking shit about Steelers fans because they're the worst. But we do have to wrap it up, unfortunately, Michael. And again, we could keep this conversation about the Browns and the history and everything else going. It's been fantastic talking to you, and I wish we did have more time.
I do have a real quick final question.
Okay.
Can you throw the hat back on, Michael?
Yeah.
Which one?
One of the Trump hats there. So first off, where can fans find that if they're interested in buying one?
They can email me.
Just email you directly?
Yep. REP Michael007 @yahoo.com.
Perfect. And then does Trump win California?
No.
No chance.
That's all I had.
No. If Trump won California, I would know that the apocalypse is around the corner, because that kind of stuff isn't going to happen. I just want to say one thing before we sign off. What I said before, I really mean it. I think that Cleveland's biggest strength is its people. I really believe that.
Absolutely. We couldn't agree more. I mean, it's one of the great things about, we're still in the area. We live a little bit south. We're in Akron, but we're still in the area. We still go up to Cleveland regularly, and just the people in this region. There's a reason why a lot of people move away, but then a lot of people move right back, because you just can't get what you have here elsewhere. You just can't find it.
Well, it's a large part why we do these interviews with the Browns backers, because it's generally a lot of people from Cleveland that go out and create these groups and come together and have some kind of kindred spirit together, and you're sharing kind of the shared experience, the life experience of growing up in Cleveland and being a fan of Cleveland. It's just different than anywhere else. So
I got one question for the both of you.
Sure.
Living in San Diego, what's the first thing that wears out on your car?
The paint.
Tires.
Exactly. You're the only person that's ever got that right. Yes.
Which one?
The paint.
The paint is the salt. Yeah, the salt.
No, there's no salt here. I mean, what's weird is you can literally have a car your entire life here. It's the ultraviolet in the sun is what ruins things.
Just
the sun. I was thinking like the sea spray, like the salt. But no,
if you live right at the beach, it's like living in Cleveland with your salt on the roads. But very few people can afford to live right at the beach.
Yeah.
So for the most part, that doesn't happen. But it's just it's cool living out here, because honest to God, you could be driving down the freeway one day and somebody pulls up. It's like American Graffiti. Somebody drives past you in a beautiful 55 T-Bird. Or you'll see a Gullwing Mercedes, or you'll see just cars you remember from your youth when you were in high school. You had a buddy that had a really, really nice old 444, and then one day it just cruises right next to you on the freeway.
So Michael, I'm gonna be honest, I never had a friend that had that car.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm way older than you, and they were all in the boneyard by then because they were rusted out.
No, listen, Michael, again, it's been absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate you being on. This has been a wonderful conversation, and hopefully we can have you back on the show again sometime to talk more Browns and to talk more history, because this has been a blast.
Awesome.
For sure.
All right. Thanks so much, Michael.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, it's Michael McSweeney here in San Diego. I'm the president of the San Diego Browns backers, and you're listening to the Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns.
Wow, good time talking to Michael from the San Diego Browns backers, huh?
I'll say, thinking about, honestly, like what he said about having to compete with the weather and the beach and the mountains, like it's amazing that they're able to get the crowds they do when the Browns are doing well.
You were just talking about all the shitty things that fall brings.
None of those exist in
here,
San Diego.
You should live in San Diego.
I should live in San Diego.
What are you doing here?
I would love it.
You could be Michael's vice president out there.
The problem is California is a shithole.
Wow.
Which Michael also alluded to a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, Michael was a cool dude.
How long before you have one of those hats?
I guess I have to email Michael, so we'll see. But he didn't express, at least say how much shipping and handling was and how long it would take. But we'll see. But I thought those
soon enough.
I thought those were fun. I see a lot of like mock-ups of those, but like I could never wear one because I don't want people to just instantly think I'm a racist, because it's just like you just get like stereotyped if you're wearing a hat like that.
Yeah.
But if it said Browns again, like it's like tongue in cheek.
It's
kind of funny,
Yeah.
Look
Like,
at this.
it's actually a Browns hat. Don't beat me up.
It's like at first look, you're like, oh my gosh, does that hat say "Make America Great Again"? And then you look closely and you're like, no, it doesn't.
right.
It's make Browns great again.
It's like actually a funny
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
Yeah. So please don't beat me up.
Did you get that reference at all? The other guys.
Oh yes, the other guys.
Female
yes.
body inspector.
The FBI. Yeah, I'll throw it out the window.
What an idiot.
But also unique too, because he has experienced losing a team twice, I guess, in his lifetime.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of cool, or interesting. Just like he's like, well, nobody really cared about the Chargers anyway.
We live in California. Nobody cares about anything out here.
That's fair.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a quick revenue break and then get back here and talk about the Week 9 matchup against the Chargers. Towpath Distillery. Towpath Distillery, an award-winning craft distillery located in Akron, Ohio. Towpath Distillery focuses on high-quality spirits carefully made in small batches. Towpath's lineup includes an ultra-smooth, award-winning premium vodka, a small batch silver rum made from the highest-grade molasses, an American craft gin made with 9 botanicals, and a blended straight bourbon made from corn and rye. Towpath Distillery, now available locally and in 46 states. Visit towpath-distillery.com to place your order online or find an OHLQ retailer near you. Towpath Distillery, handcrafted, award-winning, small batch, local, and family-owned. What was that?
What?
He was really staring at me, man. I looked up and he's just like dicking me down with his eyes.
Who, Kenny or me?
Kenny!
Oh, okay.
I always stare at you when you read that to see what'll mess you up.
It didn't.
Now that you know, though, it will forever.
Yeah. Guys,
What?
you know what's coming up?
No.
Bonus in earnest. What?
The Burning River Sportscast is going to help the Dog Pound take over New Orleans.
Hell
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
That's right. New Orleans True Fan Travel Trip is coming up in November. I believe it's November 15th through the 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Can I tell you what I'm most looking forward to?
I want to know.
Private charter flight with Browns fans.
Hell yes.
Hell
I've never been on a plane with only Browns fans before. I can only imagine.
It's got to be lit.
It's going to be quite a party on the way down.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. I know they posted a pretty cool video of all the Browns fans waving their towels from the Las Vegas trip.
Like, honestly, I would just fly around on a plane with Browns fans all day.
Yeah.
Just take me around the country.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I'm getting drunk on a plane.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. It's going to be a really good time, and I'm pretty certain that Kevin Mack's probably going to be on the private charter flight. Don't quote me on that, but I'm just assuming he's traveling in style.
We are going to be on the private.
Yeah, we're going to be there.
So you at least come party with us.
I mean, we're the draw. We know that.
Yeah. Everybody's coming just for us.
But you will also get a 3-night stay at the Renaissance New Orleans Père Marquette French Quarter, a welcome party, which is an all-inclusive cruise down the Mississippi River with the Dog Pound. A charter flight with the Dog Pound
And a cruise.
down the Mississippi River
Yeah.
with the Dog Pound.
Like, that's a trip on its own. I don't even need to go to the game.
Bro. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then a Q&A with Kevin Mack. Probably some autographs there, too. A pep rally day before, all-inclusive tailgate the day of. Tickets to the game at the Superdome, which is the site of the Super Bowl this year. Our good friend Bridget Linton will also be there. And I'm sure there's going to be some surprise guests.
I bet Bridget is just waiting to get her Irish dance on.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know how much Irish dancing they do in New Orleans, but probably
She's
some.
going to lead it.
Okay.
All of
Yeah.
what's the street called down there?
Yeah. Maple Street. No, it's not Maple
Maple Street.
I'm being silly.
We're not good at New Orleans.
Yeah.
Bourbon Street.
Bourbon
Guys,
Street.
After week 2, when the New Orleans was on fire and the Browns looked like
I was scared.
dog crap, yeah, I was like, man.
I feel
we're
a lot
gonna
better
get
now.
humped
Now we have a
in the
new lease on
Superdome.
life.
Oh, for sure.
I think we're going to hump New Orleans.
Right.
And Spencer Rattler still might be the quarterback.
He's ass.
He's real bad.
He might be the assiest ass.
He's not as bad as Deshaun.
We're going
but
down to watch a
True.
win.
Yeah, we are going to go
I
watch
think
a
we're
win.
going to see a win now. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, there's on-site trip coordinators to handle anything that may arise. So, besides, never mind. Going to be a good trip. So, everybody get your tickets. If you haven't got them yet, you're wrong. Go get them. Make sure you get on the private charter flight because that's going to be a party in the sky.
What's the opposite of stinker? Winner.
Winner! I was hoping for something that rhymed. I was going to go with winker, but that didn't.
That guy sounds like.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into the week. Are we in week 9 now? What are we? 7 games?
Doing 6 and 8. Yeah, this is week 9.
Week 9. Let's get into the week 9 preview brought to you by True Fan Travel. All right, guys. This week, we got the LA Chargers. Kenny, you know what it's time
Do
for.
I got a monologue again? Twice in one episode?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Here we
This
go.
is your fault. Kenny's Cliff Notes was never a thing. And then you made it a thing. So now it's a thing.
I feel like we needed like a more like definitive preview to the game.
Well, here you go. You got Kenny's Cliff Notes. Sounder.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Sounder.
Yeah, sounder. In third place in the surging AFC West at 4-3, it's the San Diego Superchargers. San Diego Superchargers.
What is
San
with you singing
Diego
other team songs on a
Chargers,
Cleveland
Chargers.
Browns show?
It's probably one of the best theme songs of all time. Even though
I'll let you sing it uninterrupted one more time. Go
even
ahead.
though they're not in San Diego anymore.
Go ahead.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers, charge. Yeah, it's a good one. Even though they're not in San Diego anymore, they're in LA.
Now that that's done, you will never sing another team song on our show ever again.
This week, we get the other white meat. Jim to his John. That's right. Hardball number 2.
How weird is that we play them back-to-back weeks?
Hardball number 2.
Does
Hardball.
anybody realize their name is Hardball?
Hardball. Hard knocks. That's starting soon. Hardball.
Oh, boy. I forgot about it until you just said that.
Thank God the Deshaun stuff's over now.
That would have been a shit show.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
Harbaugh brings a proud pedigree of winning at both the collegiate and NFL levels entering the season.
Can we actually say proud pedigree of winning with what happened at
He won a national
team up north?
championship.
Yeah, and then everything's all going to shit because they realized he cheated his way to the top.
Every year that he was at Michigan, they had a top 10 ranked defense. 2 of the years that they won.
He's a cheater.
The single best defense in the whole country.
Well, the guy's a cheater.
Um,
Go on.
and he also coached more than Michigan and won it with a
See, you stare at me during segments. I just talk in yours.
Yeah, thank you.
Go on.
Harbaugh brings a proud pedigree of winning at both the collegiate and NFL levels, entering the season 49-22-1 in the NFL and 144-52 in the college ranks. Jim was the 25th overall pick in the 1987 NFL draft by Chicago. Went on to start 140 career games, throwing for 26,288 yards and 129 touchdowns over 15 seasons. Jesse Minter followed Harbaugh from the Wolverines to the Bolts in the same DC role and has been instrumental in their success as a unit this year. And 25-year coaching vet, longtime Ravens rushing architect, and former assistant coach of the year Greg Roman runs the offense. Of note, Harbaugh does surround himself with a number of NFL vets, including the likes of Navarro Bowman, Will Tukuafu, Nick Hardwick, and Jonathan Goodwin, all on his coaching staff. And finally, two-time CFL head coach of the year, Mark Trestman, rounds out their staff as an offensive special assistant. This offense is top-heavy talent-wise, starting with Justin Herbert. Though he has amassed an impressive 8-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, he ranks in the bottom 5 in yards at just over 1,400 on the season.
More than Deshaun.
It is more than Deshaun. He's young and he can sling it, but has been inconsistent at times. J.K. Dobbins has thrived in this Chargers offense, ranking 9th overall in rush yards with 4 touchdowns on the year. But they are a bit thin here with Gus Edwards on the IR and some journeymen behind him. Ladd McConkey, who I called out at the beginning of the year, is their best wide out, followed by a bunch of junk. Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston are their number 2 and 3 options.
I never even heard of Quentin Johnston.
Like I said, junk. Will Dissly and Hayden Hurst are serviceable tight end options, but neither is setting the world ablaze. Though this offensive line boasts 3 first-round picks, they rank somewhere near the middle of the pack, but have been effective in keeping Herbert upright, giving up just 15 sacks on the year. This Chargers defense has been nothing short of stellar this year in a big turnaround from the Brandon Staley era, ranking at the top or near in several categories. Running on this defense can be tough, with a big Puna Ford leading the way at nose tackle. And though this defensive line only has 3.5 sacks on the year, Khalil Mack, Bud Dupree, and Joey Bosa have amassed 8.5 between the dangerous trio of rushers. Dayan Henley and Denzel Perriman are their leading tacklers, aggressive and decisive, and most importantly, violent. These guys live to hit people. And Derwin James is as good a safety as you'll find in the NFL, always lurking and can also lay the wood. This team is well coached with physicality and a relentless attention to detail. Jameis will need to be more prudent with the football this week, or else things could go south fast. Rounding out the Cliffs Notes, everyone's favorite kicker, Cameron Dicker, is 17 of 18 on the year, but has missed 2 extra points with a long on the season of 59. Side note, kid looks like a young Willem Dafoe. There's something else here. Oh, and their punter is a big sumbitch at 6'5", 210.
Dang.
I just
Young
like that
William Dafoe.
Their kicker's name is Dicker. What's his first name?
Kicker, Cameron Dicker.
I would call him Dicker Down Cameron, or Dicker Down Dicker Down something.
I just wonder if he's hung like Dafoe. You ever hear those stories?
No.
They say he's got like the biggest one in Hollywood.
Heard him? You lived them.
Hell yeah. Whatever that means.
Oh, man. You know what that takes us to?
Is it Ronnie Jam's matchups that matter?
It's time for Ronnie Jam's matchups that matter.
Ronnie Jam's matchups that matter.
Yeah, this is a good part of the show. All right, so Ronnie Jam's matchups that matter, number 1.
8:35 p.m.
Ronnie Jam's matchups that matter, number 1. The Browns' red zone offense versus the Chargers' red zone defense. The Browns can move the ball now with Jameis Winston. We can get up and down the field. And when they get down there, we're going to have to score. That's the big thing. We haven't been able to score all season long. We finally scored over 20 points this last week. I predict that we do that again this week. But the Chargers are a top 10 defense as far as in the red zone this year. A top 10 defense overall, but a top 10 red zone defense as well.
I think they're number 1 overall.
No, I thought they were down at number overall. I thought I saw them at like 6.
They're giving up 13 points a game.
Scoring defense. Yes, they are number 1 scoring defense. Correct. But yeah, believe it or not, the Browns actually rank 2nd in red zone touchdown percentage this season because we've been there so few times.
I was going to say we've only been there twice.
Yeah. And you got to have points to win. So, again, I just say if we get down into the red zone, that offense is going to have to capitalize because you can't get down there and just settle for field goals every time. It's not going to win you very many games. So that's my first matchup that matters. Second matchup that matters is the Browns secondary versus Justin Herbert. I know the passing game for LA has struggled this year, but Herbert has been battling injuries all season long. He had their bye, not last week, but the week before that, I think, was their bye. So should be healthier. He should be continuing to get healthier. And so he's probably playing better than he has the last few, early in the season. We're going to probably be without Zell. Zell was in concussion protocol last I checked. I'm assuming he'll remain there, especially with his history. He's probably going to be out a few weeks.
This is 6th one.
Yeah, so can they contain the wide receivers and eliminate any blown coverages? Now, lucky for us, like you said, behind their top receiver, but behind Laddie, they really have nobody. But our DBs have struggled this season. So it's not like we have studs out there. At least if you're talking about this season, we don't have studs out there shutting people down. So
they struggled this week even against the Ravens. We got lucked out by a couple of dropped passes. So.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a big matchup, as if Justin Herbert's going to be able to take advantage of us being without our top guy, or if our guys are going to step up and get the job done. So in summary here, the Chargers are 4-3 coming off a beatdown of the Saints last week. Now, this team has struggled on offense all season long. Like I said, Herbert's dealt with injuries. They rank in the bottom half of the league in rushing, passing, and scoring offensively. But they do have a solid defense. They rank in the top 10 against both the pass and the rush, top 10 in red zone defense, and as you said just a minute ago, number 1 in scoring defense with 13.8 points per game. And that was before this past week when they only gave up 8 to the Saints. So... the only thing I will say is I don't think this team is necessarily as good as some others may think they are. And the reason I say that is because all their wins this season so far have been against pretty bad teams, and they've lost to just about every good team they've played. So I think they're probably just an average football team. I think they're somewhere in the middle.
I just think they're really top heavy, like I said in the Cliff's Notes, which is like Herbert's good, Dobbins is good, and Ladd McConkey is coming on as a player. But like after that, there's not a lot to write home about on offense, and it's just tough for them to score points right now.
Agreed. And so for the Browns, we have a 2-6 record coming off the huge win against the Baltimore Ravens. This is one of the best feeling wins I can remember, and that's saying a lot. I don't have a long list of wins to compare that to this week. But given all the tributes to Jim Donovan and all the weird bounces that went the Browns' way, it's like they were destined to win that game. So it felt really good. Browns fans are back to being their normal selves. Much less tension in the air after everything that transpired last week. It's almost like Cleveland fans breathed a collective sigh of relief and kind of shrugged the weight of the world, a.k.a. Deshaun Watson's contract and inability to play football, off of their shoulders. So the Browns finally did things that football teams need to do to win games.
They looked like a football team.
Yeah. They played well in all facets of the game, and they were rewarded with that win. And so I guess the question here is, can they keep the momentum going? Can they keep riding this wave of offense? I think they had just about as much offense in one game as they had all season. So can they keep doing that, or are they going to come back down to being the Browns that we've seen all season
Maybe they
long?
shot their shot.
Maybe. But with that, Kenny, give us the betting info.
Betting info. Do we have no sounder?
Nah, just throw in like a cha-ching from like a
cha-ching,
like a slot machine or something.
I'll just do it myself. Cha-ching. Chargers come into this game 2.5 point favorite. Cha-ching. Over under at 42.5.
I would take that bet.
Okay.
The Chargers. I would take the Browns straight up in this.
To be clear, we're not a betting service. We don't advise on gambling.
I've never advised on gambling. I said I would. I don't care what you guys do. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. What was the over under?
42.5.
All right. So that's the betting info. Let's go ahead and get into the injury report.
Oh, darn. I thought we were going to skip it this week like we did last week.
I completely forgot about it last week.
Yeah, that's the best week. Injury report.
Who's hurt?
I'll tell you who's on the injury report.
Who's hurt?
For the Chargers. Cornerback Christian Fulton. questionable. Looks like he's got a hamstring. Hayden Hurst, tight end, out with a groin. Darius Davis.
When you say Hayden Hurst, I just think I'm going to see Hunter Hurst Helmsley.
Kind of looks like Triple H.
Triple H is going to walk out.
He's got a big
time to play the game.
Got a big red beard.
Yeah.
Darius Davis, wide receiver, out hamstring. Quentin Johnston was inactive Sunday with an ankle. DJ Shark, injured reserve with the groin. The rest of these guys look like injured reserve guys, including Gus Edwards, who's got an ankle. So,
man, we just talked about how he always seems to end up being the starter for the Ravens by the end of the season, and I guess that's out the window.
That is out the window.
He can't be traded to the Ravens and be their starter to end the season.
No. For the Browns, JOK questionable with a neck, but was discharged on Monday from the hospital. Jedrick Wills out. Ronnie Hickman out. Jordan Hicks out. Jerome Ford out. Denzel Ward questionable with concussion. Agbo Okoronkwo questionable with a knee. And then, the story on Deshaun, Nyheim Hines, those guys all on injury reserve.
Yeah. So that'll take us to
Nyheim Hines. I don't know that we really talked about. Like,
he's done for the season.
He's done for the season as a Browns, so he'll never see the field in the Browns jersey.
Be careful on them jet skis,
Yeah, towards ACL jet skiing. They said he just never came back with the explosiveness needed to play.
Was out all of last year. They were hoping to get him activated this year, and just didn't happen.
Didn't happen. So
feels bad. He's probably done with football, to be honest with you.
Could be. That's not good.
All right, so that'll take us to the player to watch. That doesn't have a sounder. I don't know why I waited for one. Kenny, who's your player to watch this week?
Oh, me again.
I'll go first. My player to watch this week is DeJuan Jones. He'll probably get his second start at left tackle this week. Didn't look horrible last week. I don't think he was necessarily good. He was kind of somewhere. He was average. He did miss a couple of assignments. The one they said was a miscommunication. Kevin Stefanski kind of shrugged that off and said that that was a miscommunication from our part to him. Don't know how much of that was protecting his new left tackle or how much of that was just DeJuan Jones just didn't know the play. But
it's a tough spot for him to be in, regardless. But
I'm interested to see how he improves, how he continues to be able to play over there. I know, he's before he made the switch this season, he wasn't that great. So I will say I think his play at left tackle was an improvement over his play at right tackle this season. And I'm just interested to see where it goes. And we're going to have to protect Deshaun. Now he's gone. We're going to have to protect Jameis so that he can throw for 300 yards again because that's exciting.
True.
Now, Kenny, who's your player to watch?
My player to watch is Jerry Jeudy.
Nice. I like that.
I think the Jeudy frustration has been well documented, but I think that was when Deshaun Watson was not capable of throwing him the ball. You have a capable quarterback in there now in Jameis Winston. And to me, Jeudy is the guy, when you look at this wide receiver room, that is the top athlete, the top player. He should be the number one wide receiver when you look at it on paper. Cedric Tillman has come on nicely over the last couple of weeks. Good on him. But when I look at talent and talent alone, Judy's the guy that should be leading this wide receiver room week after week. And I think maybe now with the newfound comfort and some, week to build chemistry with Jameis, he had a decent week this week. I think it was 5 for 79 or something. But I look for him to improve and to cement himself as the top wide receiver option, wide receiver one for the Browns going forward.
Nice. Bone?
All right, so I got Muhammad Diabate. Or is it Muhammad? I'm not really sure. But he had a lot of, I think I saw it was 87% of defensive snaps. And that wasn't just because JOK got hurt. He was already in the game, and he was making an impact.
He's filling in for Hicks, isn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So he was just all over the place. I thought he showed up a lot. He played fast. He just had a nose for the ball, which is important for a linebacker. So I'm just interested in seeing more of his development. And if JOK is out this week, he'll play a big role in bottling up. And hopefully,
got some speed for sure.
He does, and I will say this: he's a guy that the coaching staff has kind of talked up for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
And he finally was able to get in there and get some, get a start and play meaningful snaps. And he took advantage of the opportunity.
From what I saw, he's 6'4", 225. I don't know if he has any more weight. If that 225 is an old stat, but he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited about him. I hope you're right, Bone. I hope he continues to improve
He's
here.
definitely athletic.
But to help us break down this week's matchup even further and discuss the Browns defense coming alive this past week against Baltimore, we're going to bring in someone special, guys.
How special?
Really special.
Oh, okay.
We're supposed to pause there.
Oh, pausing.
Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, guys, please help me welcome former Browns DT, our official defensive correspondent and dear friend of the show, John Hughes. Hey! John, how are you?
Feeling good, man. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Feeling a little bit better because the Browns won a game.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yeah. Hey, money's always feel better when the Browns win.
Absolutely. Now, before we get there, what have you been up to lately?
So for me, man, it's just been a lot of work at the barber studio at King Culture, getting a lot of stuff together, hiring, staffing, doing different things. I like to stay tight to the business, especially in the early phase that was growing. So, just doing a lot at the barbershop, man, and of course, being a family man. So,
and that hair, it looks as good as ever.
As good as ever.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm going to have to get you guys to, mine's real long. I got to get it cut real nice. And
I had long hair once.
You don't anymore. You got punished.
Cut off.
Once upon a time, right?
Yeah. So, John, listen, has the confidence that came with scoring a touchdown at Huntington Bank Field worn off, or are you still walking tall?
I'm feeling pretty good about it, man. My daughter and my son talk about it every once in a while. It makes me feel good. Had something good to go to school with for my son, so...
Once it happens, you just crave it more, probably. Yeah, you're like, I need to score
most
another.
It's one of the addicting feelings, man. You just want another one.
John's coming out of retirement. He's going to play tight end.
Nice.
Man, if only my knees would get there.
David Njoku's in pretty good shape, too. So,
Right. I think John can outrun him.
I think they're solid.
Yeah. Don't sell yourself short, John. But anyways, look, besides that, I saw you've actually had a couple other appearances. I believe you were at a what was it, a soccer game fairly recently?
Yeah, I was at the Columbus Crew game. It was pretty cool, man. I was the match igniter, coming out, knocking over some fake bricks, and smoke coming out and igniting the game with like a dynamite stick. It was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like a lot of fun. I wish I was just like famous and I could just go do things like this. Like, I'm John Hughes. I'm just out here doing big things.
Knocking down bricks.
And the cool part about it now for me, after my playing days is, I have kids now, so they get to see and experience some of the cool stuff that I got to do when I was playing, at this point. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So let's talk Browns. The defense finally came alive on Sunday. What changed and what did you see that kind of made that difference?
I think a big thing, we talked about it before, but playing good against the run. Henry's been top back in the league this year, and holding him to under 100, man, was great. And just really finishing the game, right? Coming up clutch at the very end of the game to win. So.
Yeah, for sure. And so, I mean, did you think the fact that the offense came alive, do you think that helped a lot with the defensive guys and them being able to get into a rhythm, maybe get some rest between series and make sure they were fresh and good to go?
Oh, yeah. You hit it on the head, man. It's just playing complementary football, right? When the offense, defense, and special teams, all three phases come together and they play well together, it really helps the overall game. And just the defense itself, being able to get those breaks, your offense gets those longer drives. You look at it in a couple different ways, right? They get a break, they get to go over more adjustments and different things on the sideline, and they stay fresh throughout the game. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the way they contained Lamar? Obviously, he's their other dual threat in terms of running the ball. I know we've talked a little bit in the past about just mobile quarterbacks, but what were your thoughts on the game plan versus Lamar?
Man, I thought they did a great job. Obviously, there's some things that we'd always want to take back, right? But as a whole, I feel like we did what we had to do to get the job done.
For sure. And now, one thing that we've talked about a lot on the show, but I just want to get your take on, just because it's an interesting topic for me, is Myles Garrett. We know he wins his matchups basically every time he's out there. But we've been saying we want to see more plays out of him. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Just because, again, this game was just like that. We know he was drawing double teams. We know he was working hard over there and freeing up some stuff for other guys. But at the end of the game, especially when they were kind of getting down towards the goal line, possibly making a last-ditch effort to win the game, I just kept hoping. I'm like, I want to see a Myles Garrett sack right here. And it seems like we don't always get that. So I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on that. And if you think he's kind of a matchup winning warrior or if he's going to start putting up more stats here.
Yeah. So I guess you can look at it a couple of different ways, right? When you're talking about winning your matchups, obviously that's the number one thing you want to do, win your matchup. And then you want to make the plays that you're supposed to make, right? That was kind of like what our coaches would tell us a lot. And the more dynamic of a player, the more our expectation as fans are that they make these plays, right? So I think that he does a great job winning his matchups, of course. But I think as fans watching the game, we just want to see him making more Myles Garrett plays. You know what I mean? So I think, like I said, he makes the plays that come to him, but just, make an extra effort and getting there some more. So
do you think there's anything I don't know. You lived the defensive line, so you understand. And I know you're not necessarily a defensive end, but is there anything more that either the coaching staff or some of the other guys could do to help him get freed up to more one-on-one matchups, those types of things to get home?
Yeah, and really it's that goes across the board for the D-line, right? If you got a guy that demands double teams, if you have another guy that demands double teams, right? It's all about how well the rest of the defensive line is playing. So if other people are demanding, more attention, it'll free him up in certain plays, right? And then just Myles being ready when he gets those one-on-one matches.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, John, obviously the Browns have had a rough go here of late. Coming into this week, there was a lot of emotion over a number of things, but I think one of the things that stood out was you started hearing talk about guys maybe being on the trade block. As Darius Smith comes to mind as one of those guys that was kind of just thrown around a lot in the rumor mill. I guess how does that play in the locker room, like during the week when you're either waiting on news for potential trades, or maybe you're one of the guys that's mentioned in that? Like, how does that play in the locker room, and how does that impact the team on game day?
Yeah, so being in situations where you've been, on the losing end of the record, right? So 2-6, or 2-5, 2-6, but then also I've been on teams where, we've been playing well, winning games back to back. It does change the dynamic in the locker room because guys start worrying about job security at that point, right? Because especially when I was in Cleveland during my time, man, like it almost felt like nobody was safe, and that almost kind of alters your play a little bit. You're playing more for like survival now than you're playing for just trying to get after it and win your the game. So it's it definitely goes a lot of different ways, man. It is a tough being in the locker room sometimes when you're in this kind of position, but really just playing through it, and guys just having to find a way to come together. I know they talk about it a lot, team chemistry, right? But it really is, especially when you have all that outside noise coming in about the fan stuff and all these different things going on. It's really just being able to lock in and focus on what's going on in the building and getting the job done.
And kind of along those same lines, I know another big topic this last week. Obviously, we're past it now. Jameis came in and played well, and it seems like all's well with the world. But what were your thoughts just with Deshaun Watson going down and the reaction from the fans? Being a fan now, I'm sure you have a little bit of a unique perspective. You've been on both sides of it. So what were your thoughts when that happened?
Yeah, I definitely feel for Deshaun Watson, and I hate how he went out, man. It's one of those things, especially as a former player, that devastated feeling of having a big injury, and it right on the spot. You can wait for your MRIs to come back or whatever, but as a player that went through the injury, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a long recovery, right? So just, feeling for him and having to go through that recovery, and hoping he gets better soon, man. It's one of those things, man. You just have to, get through. But with fans, man, I'm not going to lie, it did kind of hurt the comments. Being on this side, you hear a lot more of the comments and the different things. about the fans are saying. And I just feel like you can't act like that when we're talking about the game in a whole. These guys are going out there every Sunday putting their bodies on the line for, for money, but also for your entertainment, right? So when a guy gets hurt, the last thing you want to do is kick him while he's down.
Yeah, and I know we talked a lot on our show about how I think it was a little bit misinterpreted.
Well, I think the reaction first off was mixed. I think there were probably,
yeah. I was there. It was mixed.
There's 60, 70,000 people in a place. There's going to be a few a-holes, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure there were people that were actively cheering an injury. But I think in large part there's probably just a lot of pent up frustration from this team and maybe getting a chance to see Jameis or someone else play for the first time all year. So
that's one thing. Oh, my bad. I was just going to say that's one thing about Cleveland fans, man. They're passionate. They've always been passionate. So sometimes we confuse passion with other things, but at the end of the day, like, we have the best fans, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. So when they're speaking from emotion from a team that they really feel for. So everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it's just unfortunate that some fans felt the way they did.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts, I guess, either to, and not even specific players, but just players in terms of like calling out fans after the game? I mean, it's a tough position, I think, to put yourself in as a player, knowing that you're going to play in front of these guys again next week and the week after. But obviously you lived it. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I definitely, it's with fans, talking about the fans in the media. It's a touchy subject at times, but also you can't blame a guy for speaking his mind, especially on something so close to home as a guy getting hurt and kind of what they felt and heard in the stadium themselves. You know what I mean? So they're giving their personal opinion, man. I don't think we can really be upset about that. But I don't feel like talking about the fans all the time in every situation, and that's not really the way to go. But I think this one they had a foot to stand on for sure.
Yeah, and I think to your point, John, I think the city of Cleveland, while we are passionate, a very passionate fan base, and a lot of people were upset that day and even the following couple days. I mean, look what happened. They came out and beat the Ravens, and it's like we're all happy again. We love the players. Everything's great. Nothing's wrong. And it's like now that you take a step back and that pent-up frustration is gone from the fans because we are seeing something new, and that something new happened to be something fantastic. We're watching this, and now it's like all's forgiven with the players because, again, to your point, we understand that they were speaking their mind. They were standing up for a teammate, whatever the case may be, and they came out and they played well. And at the end of the day, that's what Cleveland fans want. They want our team to play well, and like you said, we're very passionate about that, and we're very invested in the team. So if that happens, we're all good.
Yeah, I was happy to see Jameis get out there, man. I played with Jameis his second year when I was in Tampa. And, I knew what he was capable of, right? And it's just a matter of him getting his opportunity and taking the most of it, man. So I was happy to see him get out there and do his thing.
Jameis had some interesting words for like the pregame reporters. I don't know how much you caught of that, but I guess like just knowing him more on a personal level, like is he just kind of like that all the time? Like what's his deal, man?
Yeah. No, Jameis is cool, man. It's he's that guy that speaks his mind, right? You know those things that you think in your head sometimes. You're like, I don't know if I should say it. Like Jameis is going to say it, right? and that's coming from a good side, right? But I mean, I've been in some huddles and heard him some of his speeches, man. They kind of go left and right sometimes, but if you know Jameis, you know it comes from his heart. So at the end of the day, you take it and you run with it. So.
It's awesome.
No, it's been a lot of fun just hearing him talk in general since he's even before he was playing when he was just the backup all through the beginning part of the season.
He's a vocal guy for sure.
But this week the Browns they get Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. What is the key to success for the defense this week, John?
Key to success this week, a few things. I'm a big run guy, so I'm always going to say we have to eliminate the run in the beginning, making them one-dimensional. And Herbert's no slouch, so it's really about being able to put pressure on him, make bad decisions. Yeah,
and I know he's been battling injuries throughout this year. So when you when you come into a game knowing a guy has a lingering injury, I mean, does that give you, not that you're trying to hurt the guy, that's not what I'm trying to say, but does that give you more motivation to like get home and put even more pressure on him, knowing that he's uncomfortable already?
Yeah, most definitely. It even, specifically what the injury is, right? If we got like a wrist or an arm, you know what I mean? Like we might go in there and try to swipe at the ball a little bit harder, right? Or whatever it is. But knowing a guy is not at 100%, you want to what they call spot the fish. So
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the part of football we love.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
We don't like to talk about it, but we love it.
Yeah, it's the part you don't say.
Yeah. Well, listen, John, obviously, it seems like all of Browns Nation has a new lease on life. We're a lot more excited to watch the games now than we have been in a while. Can you tell us what your score prediction this week is?
Ooh, let's see. I think we're going to run away with this one 21-17.
Nice.
Okay.
And at 2-6, John.
And I was going to say, the only reason I kept it semi-close is that's just how we play Browns football. So
yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough. Yeah. At 2-6, John, are the playoffs still in sight? Is this team going to make a run at it?
Man, I feel like we have an opportunity to. It's just the fact that we have to be perfect now, and especially in the AFC North, we got to be perfect.
I think in the coming weeks, you got Chargers, 2 games against the Steelers.
New Orleans.
Denver.
Oh, yeah, we got some fun football coming up.
They could go on a little run.
Yeah, now's the time to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would have been nice to win some of the easy games in your schedule, but now's the time to do it.
Most definitely. So. And it's funny you say that, right? Because at the beginning of the year, you always have guys that we get the schedule and we're crossing them off like, oh, that's a win, right? That's a win. But realistically, man, you're just thinking about the team from the year before, right? You have no idea what this team this year is coming in looking like or anything, especially even through preseason, right? So it's just funny when guys kind of go through the list. You're like, no, that's a win, or this is going to be a tough one. So,
yeah. For sure. Well, hey, John, we really appreciate you coming on. As always, it was awesome having you. I wish these conversations lasted longer. I wish we should probably start another podcast
just for interviews.
I was just going to say it's us and John.
Idea.
We'll replace Bone with John.
Just bring John here.
No, we couldn't do that to Bone. Bone's fantastic, but it's always great talking to you, John. We enjoy having you on. And until next time, hopefully the Browns can continue to get some wins,
winning games.
Oh yeah, let's keep it rolling, man, for sure. Appreciate it, guys.
Right. John, thanks.
John.
Yep, take it easy.
Always good having John Hughes on the show, huh?
I love John Hughes.
He's just that dude,
Yeah. It's just interesting listening to him. I mean, obviously he has a unique perspective since he played, thinking about, especially like the way that like trade rumors and things impact the locker room and how guys could try to compartmentalize that and just keep trying to play. But at the back of your mind, you're kind of playing for your job to some extent.
Yeah. It would be a weird feeling because, like, obviously we all played at some level or another, and it would just be weird going out there, like, trying to have fun more or less, and you're like, what if I have to move across the country to San Diego tomorrow?
Yeah.
Obviously San Diego doesn't exist anymore, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
when you're almost kind of auditioning for both your team and any other team that might want you.
Yeah.
Just a lot of pressure to put on a guy.
Yeah.
And it feels like a lot of pressure to put on the guys around them in the locker room because they feel responsible if someone is being looked at to be moved.
Yeah. It'd be a tough place to be. I mean, I know I don't have the mental fortitude to be able to handle that. If they started telling me,
I don't have any mental fortitude.
If they started telling me I was going to get traded, I'd probably just be pissed off and angry. And be like,
oh yeah,
the hell with you guys.
You think I'm gonna? Yeah, immediately.
It would not be good. It would not be good. Speaking of melting down, it's time to get gassed up.
Oh boy.
It's that time again, boys. It's time. We're going to get gassed up. It's time to get gassed up. Kenny, we're starting with you.
All right, guys. I think it's time for my first divorce.
Uh-oh.
I need some marriage counseling here.
That's not good. Are you getting gassed up at your wife here? Is she going to listen to this?
Look, I got to be honest, guys. It's been really tough being married because there is no respect for my shower towel. Let me just tell you that any towel that I try to use for showers, she ends up taking. It doesn't matter where I hang it. It doesn't matter how many towels are in the bathroom. The towel that I dry my butt crack and balls off with, she insists on using at all times.
Doesn't she know there's more towels in the house?
We'll have generally 2 in the bathroom at one time, and we have blue and yellow. I've tried being like, blue is mine, yellow's yours, like kind of like gender specific. Nope, just using my towel at all times, and I can't stop it. I don't know what to do. I've talked to her about it.
Do I need to have a talk to her?
She says,
talk with her?
She says when you get out of the shower, you're clean, so it doesn't matter.
Huh.
And I was like, yeah, but like the towel is like the last part of the cleaning.
I disagree with that. Like, even if it doesn't matter how clean your ass crack is, it's still your ass crack.
Right.
It all butt crack.
I'm like, I don't, and like in
this goes back to not to steal your gassed up, but you're going to get me gassed up about a different topic. Remember when we used to go on our Nashville trips? And our good buddy stole my bar of soap one time. And he's like, it's soap. It cleans you. I'm like, no.
the soap itself is clean.
No, I had to go buy a new bar of soap because the fucker stole my soap. Like just because the soap itself cleans you doesn't mean it's clean.
The soap is clean.
Same thing with the towel. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Well, and then like conversely, look, like I like my wife's butt crack and everything that comes with it down there, but like I don't necessarily want to dry my face off with like what she's been drying off her lady bits with.
So are you going like back to reach for this towel and there's no towel there, or does it get replaced with another towel?
It doesn't matter.
Or is it just like damp? Because you're like, damn it, she used it again.
Right. Like if there was one towel in the bathroom and like you're in a pinch and you're like, oh crap, I didn't grab a towel before I came in here. I need to use your towel once.
Sure.
Acceptable. We've been in that situation before, but like no, like I pre-planned this.
Like you have blue and yellow will just sit there for weeks, and blue will get used constantly.
And then I'll use the yellow one, and then she'll be like, "Oh, I'll use this one now." Like it doesn't matter. She just is intent on using my towel no matter what, and it drives me absolutely insane.
You should try it again. Just use yellow nonstop and see what happens.
I just don't know what to
tell
do
her,
anymore.
but have the talk again. Say mine's blue, yours is yellow, but then you just start using yellow.
I mean, I'll give it a shot. I'll try.
Either that or just shit on the towel one time and see what happens.
I'll try anything at this point. My marriage is on the rocks, guys.
This is it. This is the end.
This is how it ends.
This is how it ends.
Towels.
No respect for my towel.
Man. Bone, what are you gassed up about?
All right, so we had an early trick or treat this weekend. Our community goes on Saturday instead of like on the real Halloween, which is fine. It's nice to have it on the weekend. But 2 years in a row, this house in particular didn't give out candy this year, but they give out expired Halloween candy.
Oh no!
Which I'm like, is chocolate really go bad? There's all the preservatives, blah, blah, blah. It does. You open up like a piece of chocolate.
It's like, it's like white.
Like even the whiteness I know is a part of like some oxidization or something. That's actually kind of okay to eat. But this was like,
but you know it's fucking old.
This was even past that point where we we found the date and it was like 3 years old. It's disgusting. So we had to like warn everybody who trick-or-treated with us. We have some nieces and nephews over. And then this year we found like packs of Oreos in our kids' thing that were expired by a year. So I'm just like, if you can't afford candy, which is fine, just don't give it out.
Turn your light off.
Yeah, if you're buying candy like on reduced price or whatever and you want to enjoy that, great. But if you're like giving it to little boys and girls who don't, do you make yourself feel better because you're handing out candy? Just don't do that.
Yeah.
If you can't afford candy, I feel for you there. Just don't give it out.
Yeah.
Quit giving our children
Don't-
expired Halloween candy.
Food pantry
because it's
candy.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, and it just kind of passes the buck on to you. Like now you have to go through
Yeah.
and search I know that one house was giving out expired candy, so we got to find all the pieces in here that are expired. I mean, I guess you should check your kids' candy anyways.
Some
but-
people just don't see anything wrong with that, though. Like, my parents are like, they'll keep dressing in the fridge for like 3 years past its expiration date. And I'm like, how are you using this? This is rancid.
We did that all growing up too. That's how my house was. But then now that I'm an adult, I remember when we just moved, right? There was stuff in your fridge that you just forget about. And we just moved and I went on a full purge. I was like, disgusting. This is so expired. And I got rid of everything. And at the time you're like, I bet you could probably eat that, but I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not even chancing any of this. I'm just getting rid of all of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like just honestly, we should do that more. I know there's all kinds of things out there, to your point, Bone, about expiration dates and how you can technically, those are more CYA things for these companies to make sure they don't get sued.
But I'm like, if they're afraid of getting sued, something could go wrong here.
Yeah, I agree. Ew. You just got me.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, that's ick.
I feel gross.
Real
now.
icky.
Now I need to go take a shower. Hopefully
check your
nobody steals
candy.
my towel.
Yeah. Christine will use your towel for sure.
Ew. Guys, the Browns are getting me gassed up right now. And I'll tell you why. I said it Sunday and I'll say it again now. I'm finally excited to watch the Browns play football again. I think Jameis makes them a whole different team. And if we continue to string wins together, they may be able, I'm not saying they'll make the playoffs, but they may be able to squeak back into wild card talks again.
How many people Googled on Sunday after the win, can a 2-6 football team make the playoffs? How many times has it been done?
They had to be trending for sure. I'll be clear. I don't think they're making the playoffs this year. However, if they could even get back into a position where they're starting to there's a chance the Browns could steal a wild card spot. That means we're playing
4-6. The Browns are in the hunt.
That means we're playing good football the rest of the season. So, yeah, I just Jameis has me feeling like Joe Flacco did last year. So that's all I'll say is I'm excited. I am gassed up for Browns football in a good way.
I mean, honestly, you look at the schedule. There's no reason why they couldn't go on a little run. I mean, the thing is, their margin for error is nil, so you pretty much have to win out. You can maybe drop one game and be in that conversation, but honestly, if they play like they did on Sunday, the schedule looks a lot more favorable than it did 2 weeks ago.
And I know it's a little bit different team, different personnel a little bit, but the odds were stacked against them last year.
I think the big question is can Jameis continue playing at that high of a level?
Yeah, it is.
Because I mean, we watch teams all the time. I mean, like Carolina played for 2 weeks well with Andy Dalton, and he provided a spark, and things were different. The team was motivated and encouraged, and then he kind of reverted back into Andy Dalton. Jameis hasn't been a starter in the league for a while. Does at some point the new wear off and the old shine through?
And that's fair. And again, that's why, like I said, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. However, I'm excited to see if they climb back.
Yeah, he at least makes it exciting and fun again.
Yeah. So, but with that, that'll take us to King of the North. Are you excited, Kenny?
Oh.
All right. In case anyone doesn't know by now, yes, we're going to go through this again, Kenny. This is our year-long AFC North pick'em competition. At the end of the season, whoever comes in last place gets punished. In the preseason last year, Kenny had a gross of eggs thrown at him by fans in the Muni lot before a game. In the preseason this year, Kenny had his entire head of hair and beard shaved clean off.
It's better than my whole head being shaved off.
I had that in there for a while. It's still actually in the notes. I know it's coming, though.
Thanks. It's coming.
Punishment this season, tentatively, is going to be you have to go to a public pool, get in the pool, and then publicly announce that you have peed in said pool. I guess Bone, I think I brought it up early on too, but Bone is concerned about legal restrictions here. So this is tentatively the punishment, but we'll see what happens.
We're going to get a permit to film.
But yeah, Kenny, you excited to pee in a pool?
No. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to lose.
All right, whatever you say. First things first here, guys. Let's remind everybody that Bone is the reigning defending king of the North. You give us a little...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
I don't like that.
Kenny, as always, you're a clown.
Thank you.
So let's remind everyone of our current records after week 8. Bone, back down to 500. You're at 14-14. I'm right behind you at 13-15, and Kenny is in last place like always, or at least like mostly, at 12-16.
You have the same hairline as Vince McMahon.
At least I'm not in last place in King of the North. Let's get into this week's games. The Steelers will be on bye this week, so we don't have to pick for them. The Bengals host the Raiders. Kenny, who you got?
God, the Raiders are a dumpster fire. I don't know if you guys watched any of that game. Did they pull Gardner Minshew, or did he get hurt? Because
there was no other quarterback stats, so he had
because. Who was the quarterback that came in? It was some journeyman trash guy. He came in for a couple series, but then Gardner ended up finishing the game. So I don't know if Gardner was hurt or if they pulled him and then he got hurt and then had to go back to Gardner. Gardner's like a bad penny for those guys. They just can't get rid of him.
Whoever came in for him, there was not a single like passing stat for another guy besides Gardner Minshew. So he didn't even attempt a pass.
It's a name we know too, and I just can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue, But man, they're just like looking for answers everywhere. I also don't feel very confident in this Bengals team. They just got trounced by the Eagles.
That was bad.
I guess I'll go Bengals this week. Just because I think the Raiders are an absolute mess.
That's fair. Bone, who you got?
I got to go Bengals too. As much as I want the Raiders to destroy them, they're at home, and they still got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, so. Got to go Bengals.
Yep, I've got the Bengals as well for all of those reasons. This is like the toilet bowl of the week, and I think the Bengals are the shiniest turd. So
fair enough.
Next up here, Baltimore hosts the Broncos. Bone, who do you have?
I'm gonna go. I got to go Ravens. They'll bounce back. Home game. They're not going to lose 2 in a row here. I guess they did to start the season though, right? So, but I see them beating the Broncos. Although the Broncos have been playing well, but I just have a feeling in their offense they're going to get back on track.
Yep, I agree with that. I'll go Ravens. I know the Broncos, they have a decent record. They're 500. They're just over 500 right now.
They're in second place in the division. They're 5-3 or something.
Yeah, I still just don't think they're that good of a football team. So I'm going Ravens here.
Maybe 5-2 actually.
I'm going. They're kind of like the Steelers. Like, yeah, they're playing decent football right now and they're winning games, but I still don't believe they're that good of a football team. So I'm going to go Ravens. Kenny, who you got?
Yeah, if this game was in Denver, I might feel differently, but I think Baltimore rights the ship here at home. Bo Nix is coming along, but I don't think he's good to beat this Ravens team. This Ravens team, don't get lulled to sleep because the Browns beat them. Like, they're still a good football team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, the Browns stay home and host the Chargers. I'll go first, guys. I'm really feeling what the Browns have done with the change to Jameis Winston. I don't necessarily believe in Ken Dorsey and him being calling all the plays. I think it was more we have a competent quarterback now. But I think we're going to put up some yards. The Ravens were a top defense just a week ago, too. And we played well against them. So I like the Browns. I like this new offense under Jameis Winston. I think they score a lot of points. I'm going 30-24 Browns. Our first game in the 30s, guys.
Nice.
Kenny, who you got?
Wait, I'm sorry, because your thing said Chargers. You're picking the Browns?
Yeah.
Oh.
I threw you.
Yes, you threw me. Good job. Desmond Ridder. That's the guy's name that came in for the Raiders. I think this Browns team is going to go on a little run here. I think the shackles of Deshaun are off, and this team has an offense now that can compete with probably anybody in the league. I'm going to go Browns 27-13.
Nice. You made a shackles off reference. I made Atlas Shrugged reference earlier. This is getting good. What was your score on that again?
27-13.
Bone, who you got?
Ooh, I'm also picking the Browns. There's just too much of that feeling of last year, Joe Flacco, and just the team kind of having a little resurgence under a competent quarterback who can run play action and complement the rest of his team.
Yep.
So he can step up in the pocket and he can do things that all quarterbacks in the NFL should be able to do. And with that, we have a lot of good players around him, I think. So Browns 26, Chargers 23.
Ooh, close one. I like that. Yeah, so we all got the Browns. We all picked exactly the same this week, so there's not going to be a lot of movement in King of the North. Kenny, you're still going to be in last place. Does that feel good?
I mean, the only game that I would pick differently would be the Raiders game, but I just think they're such a disaster. So
you got to.
I got to pick.
It's not time that you have to start picking against us yet.
I think they're going to win.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So with that, let me remind everybody to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Seriously, guys, leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. It's there for a reason.
Yeah,
it's for hot takes.
We want to hear your hot takes.
We want hot takes.
There's a lot of material out there.
There really is.
Yeah.
So much material.
There really is. Number to call there, 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now operators are not standing by. But we'll put you on the air and we'll talk about you. Be sure to check out our gear, www.thetapandmedia.com/shop. A lot of new things coming soon, so check that out. And that'll do it for us. What can we expect next week, Kenny?
What can we expect next week? We can expect us to be live on Sunday night. Sunday. BRS Live. BRS, that's us, Burning River Sportscast. Join us Sunday evening after the game for another live edition. We will be recapping the Browns' Week 9 game against the LA Chargers. We will be on at approximately 8 p.m. We're pretty close this week, 8:05. I think we hit the air.
Yeah.
We will be live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And then next Thursday, we'll be back with our bye week special. You can expect some interviews with sponsors, big things happening in the coming months. Towpath Distillery and True Fan Travel also appearing. And in addition, we will have a Browns backers interview. Kenny Mack joins the show from the Ottawa Browns backers. And, these may end up being another special guest as well. Hang in there. We'll find out.
Hang in there. We'll find out. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Tappan Media is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Tappan Media. And Burning River Sportscast, that's this podcast is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast and on X at Burning River Pod. You can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Podcast, Castro. Good Pods were number one rated.
Number one.
And so many more. You know what that takes us to, Kenny?
Thanks for today.
What do you got?
I got some facts for days.
I want to hear them.
Oh, yes.
Whale facts? Did you bring them back? Did you bring back the whale facts?
These are my secret facts.
Whale facts.
Number one. Gray whales.
Hell yes. Oh, man. This is a good week.
Gray whales can travel over 14,000 miles round trip, and they will not feed during their entire journey down south to warmer waters. Instead, they rely solely on their blubber or body fat to fuel their journey.
That's so many miles.
It's really far.
That's like so many miles.
Yeah.
That's way more miles than the Browns fan cruise went on last year.
You need an oil change afterwards.
Whoa.
For sure.
Number two.
You need one during.
Yeah, I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Number two, sperm whales.
Ooh.
They have
Those are your favorite kind of whales.
Sperm whales have the biggest brains of any animal on Earth.
How big is it?
While the blue whale may hold the heavyweight title and award for longest length,
who's got the most girth?
Pfister macrocephalus, or sperm whale, is the largest of the toothed whales and is responsible for producing the largest brain on the planet. Easily recognizable by their large, unique-shaped heads holding a very special substance called spermaceti. The sperm whale's brain weighs about 5 times as much as a human brain.
How much does a human brain weigh?
About 7 pounds.
5 times 7. 35-pound brain?
It's a big brain. I didn't do the math. That adds scale to it.
35-pound brain?
That's pretty big.
Wow.
In fact, it's the biggest.
Good thing they don't live on land and have opposable thumbs, because we would be screwed.
Yeah, because they do have teeth, and they would be scary. They would eat you.
Yeah.
Number 3. While most whales and dolphins have between 3 and 4 stomachs.
Wait, just stop there. Wait. That's not a fact that most whales and dolphins have between 3 and 4. Also, why do they have between 3 and 4 stomachs? Just 3.5 for this one, but
Well, some dolphins
I
have
get it.
3, some have 4.
Thank you. Why do they have so many stomachs?
All whales are dolphins, but not all dolphins are whales. But this fact gets better.
This is facts for days.
While most whales and dolphins have between 3 and 4 stomachs, the largest memory of the beaked whale family is the Baradius bayardi, or more commonly called Bayard's whale, which has more. Each Bayard's whale has a total of 13 stomachs. Yes, I said
Why?
13 stomachs.
Why is that a thing?
The most commonly asked follow-up question is, what do they do with all of them? And the answer is simple. They use them all for digestion.
All of them. They use all of them for digestion. You need 13 stomachs.
These whales, ranging from 35 to 42 feet in length, have the densest bones of all mammals. I know Bone.
How did you not know these answers?
These dolphin doppelgangers feed on deep sea squid from the deepest parts of the ocean.
Wow.
They are deep divers and can descend to extreme depths of 3,300 to 10,000 feet
That's
in search
insane.
of food. Like the long breath-holding sperm whales, who are also a part of the toothed whale family, Bayard whales can also remain underwater for longer lengths, reaching up to approximately 60 minutes.
Dang. That's so deep. That's so far down.
Yeah. You also said the word deep and depth like 7 times in 2 paragraphs. It
They
was impressive.
get really deep at long depths
Why aren't whales and dolphins scared of the dark?
because they use echolocation.
I feel like Zach's going to hit us with a dad joke here.
They don't use their eyes to see or locate things very often. They use sound.
Makes sense.
Because like these whales dive to the parts of the ocean where there's no light, period.
Yeah, that's what I'm
None.
saying. It's scary down there.
Yeah. It's real
That's the
scary.
part of the ocean I hate.
And that's where they go to eat.
Well, I hate the whole ocean.
First they hold their breath for
I don't
an
like the
hour,
ocean.
and then they go eat.
I don't want to go in the ocean. There could be Bayard whales all over the
I
place.
definitely wouldn't go 10,000 feet under.
10,000 leagues under the sea.
You'll get crushed and eaten by a Bayard whale. Feels bad. That's facts for days, friends.
Nice.
I love whale facts. Oh, man. My week just got so much brighter because I can go recite whale facts to people now.
There you go.
I need to go back and watch the old whale facts
You're
so that I have
welcome.
all the whale facts to tell people. And they're like, why do you know so much about whales? And I'll be like, I don't know.
I know this guy.
I know a guy that has all the whale facts for days.
So many whale facts.
Oh, man. Bone?
Yeah, it's time to go to bed. I'll see you guys later. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Don't be a part of the problem. Don't just be a part. Be the whole damn problem.
And only you
Nice.
can prevent river fires.
Burning rivers. Yes, burning rivers.
Burning rivers.
Burning rivers.
Burning rivers. Yes.
Burn whales in the river.
Bone, song us.
Wrong person.
Wrong person.
Holy.
Kenny.
Holy.
No. Kenny,
hymnal.
song us.
No one knows.
You got anything?
Let's see here. Burning River Sportscast.
And I will always love you. Will always love you. Good job, guys. That was terrible.
Bad song choice.
Good night,
That
Cleveland.
was a bad song choice. What was that?
Good night.
You guys
Akron.
didn't even have a song.
Good night, Cleveland.
Quiet on set.
I now have 2 loves in my life. Big city living and a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
I didn't think we'd be getting into Brad Pitt's ass. I can't even say it.
I didn't think we'd be getting into Brad Pitt's ass.
Yeah, didn't think we'd get in there.
We talk a lot of analingus on this show.
So put your right foot in and take your right foot out. Then put your right foot in and shut the hell up because it's not time for the hokey pokey. It's time for the Burning River Sportscast.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboat, son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
You know what I was thinking during that interview?
What were you thinking? Nothing, because you don't have thoughts because you're a brainless idiot.
Wow.
My name is Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
By the way, I want my foreskin back.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Women's Guide to Anal Sex, and it was the second edition. Who makes the second edition?
The weather outside is weather.
The other one, the finger eating food fingers.
Oh my God! My house is full of shit. He's shit everywhere.
Yes.
Ejaculate all over my body and my genitals.
Yes.
Oh no! We suck again.
You don't need fundamentals when you got heart.
and Jesus.
And Jesus.
That's right.
Touchdown. Anyways.
Number one.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
It's going down. I'm
yelling
yelling timber.
Goddamn jets.
Should we start a meat podcast of it, like
The meat pod.
slow roasted?
The leads are weak. The leads are weak. Fucking leads are weak. You're weak.
That we should send a team of oil core drillers a la Armageddon to Mars to have them access the newly discovered reservoirs of water trapped 7 to 12 miles under the surface that, when released, will cover the entirety of everything on the planet, less than a mile high.
All I do is win no matter what.
Erroneous on both counts.
I mean, last year when I won and went home, my wife's pants hit the ground.
Wow.
But damn!
Well, I'm sorry, I hijacked your segment for a second to do some good podcasting.
You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
I think we've officially lost all of our more conservative viewers. So I don't think they want to listen any longer.
This is it's Mother Nature.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Where's Logo Girl when you need her?
I desperately want to make love to
It's Cheese
We
Girl.
need Cheese Girl now.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
Who's canceled now? Who's canceled now?
Probably me.
You making fun of fat people?
I'm not. Just you.
We're a whole race, basically.
No way. You just finger bang their salad. What?
You first get shocked, and then you get the shocker.
Hey, you like to see homos naked? That's cool, man. Whatever. No.
Most people, they're driving along and they're in between meals. They're like, I'm a little hungry. I'm going to have a granola bar. And he's like, I need a cheeseburger.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
Browns fans, join the Dog Pound on the road this season with True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. Travel to stadiums across the country with other Browns fans and experience the games like never before. This trip includes everything: a private charter flight, hotel, an all-inclusive tailgate, game tickets, boat party, transportation, and more. Cheer on the Browns in New Orleans and party with Cleveland Browns legend Kevin Mack. Visit truefantravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
Today's episode was brought to you by Towpath Rum. Towpath Rum, silver rum made from the highest grade molasses. Distilled 3 times in a copper pot still, this rum is designed to be the backbone of a great cocktail. So good you can drink it by itself. Available locally in Northeast Ohio and online in 46 states. Towpath Rum.